Porsche Motorsport and Hockenheimring go hand in hand. Playing host to one of Porsche's many experience centers, Hockenheim, Germany has long been in every racing driver's and fan's heart for generations. Our generation is lucky enough to witness one of the greatest Porsche 911s in history, and we're even fortunate enough to do it virtually. Hi, and welcome to PitStopTV and the virtual Hockenheimring. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with JP Costa, and JP, we're here and ready for a new season of North American Racing League action, but in a whole new way. Things we've never seen before. The Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car around 8 of the world's premier racing venues, and it's all on the iRacing.com platform, brought to you by VRS, Baradness, and our usual partners here with the North American Racing League, TAM Livery and JS Consulting. JP, welcome to Germany.
Thank you very much for having me, and wow, I'm just so excited to be here. As you mentioned, Porsche Cup cars around Hockenheim, a brand new way, I guess you can say, a brand new season, brand new start as well for NARL. I'm just so excited to be here, and as you mentioned, a lot of new things we're gonna approach, we're gonna explain for, well, each and every single viewer. I'm just so excited to be here, and I'm pretty sure the drivers are as well, because it's a brand new start. As you mentioned, 8 races, 8 rounds, premier racing circuits. It's just a recipe for success.
There is so much energy around this series that this race, this 1 points race, already feels like one of those big NARL events that we've had in months past, where we had, of course, the 2 streamer championships, we had cash days at Long Beach. It feels like one of those where we're expecting big things, and, you know, already a big thank you goes out to everybody tuning in. There's already really good numbers. There's already a lot of big time energy around this series, which pumps everything up. Let's go ahead and take a look at the racetrack. Of course, Hockenheimring, I mentioned, it's in a lot of our hearts. We all love this place. I think everybody holds it in kind of high territory within our own personal selves. Hockenheimring is just a good racetrack. There's not too many other ways to put it. You can see fast laps there along the left side of the graphic on your screen. We do not have a Porsche Cup time on there, which is kind of interesting to me, but you can see some other lap times. And if you wanted to go ahead and compare it to a GT3 car, for example, Alex Albon actually holds the GT3 lap record here, JP. It was set last year in a Ferrari 488 Evo, but we don't have the Ferrari. It's just the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car this evening, which opens a whole new can of worms. It's not your ABS, TC, well, there is some traction control, but you don't have ABS. It's the biggest thing in these cars, and of course, it's on that Porsche 911 platform. It's very difficult to drive. It doesn't drive like any other race car. It takes a whole different box of skills.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the best driving cars, I guess you can say, in the world. It's a very high quality car. Everybody on iRacing absolutely love it. Unfortunately, I haven't had experience to drive neither the old or the new model, but from things that I've heard from drivers, from fans, everything, it's just one of the best cars on the iRacing platform, and it's just so much fun to get it right. It looks amazing, sounds great, and well, it's at home in Germany.
In case you're new to us here at PitStopTV, firstly, welcome. We're glad to have you along. We're glad to have this brand new season of North American Racing League action along for the ride, and we certainly invite you to join the conversation on social media. We've already seen a lot of attention. We've already seen a lot of these new teams and these new drivers attacking us on social media, hitting us up, and we're retweeting all of that. We're sharing all of that. So by all means, if you are on social media, you probably are. It's 2022. Let's be honest. You probably are. Get in contact with us. Join the conversation. Use hashtag PitStopTV. Use hashtag NARL. And you can tag us. Any of these links, any of these social handles on Facebook, it's at PitStopTV. On Twitter, it's at PitStopTV_. On Instagram, it's at Pit_Stop_TV. By all means, join the conversation. Let us know how you're feeling for this brand new series. It's going to be a lot of fun. And you know what? Let's go ahead and look at the schedule for this series, JP. We've looked at it before. We talked about it a little bit, and we highlighted it back at the 2nd Annual Streamer Championship. But this is never going to get old. This schedule is never going to get old to me. Hockenheimring, Daytona, Long Beach, Hungaroring, Spa, Charlotte, Road Atlanta, Red Bull Ring. That is a healthy schedule.
Oh, absolutely. Just screams a lot of fun. It screams a lot of challenges for some of these drivers. And as you mentioned, they're the world's greatest circuits. I mean, you just have to love each and every single one of them. It's just going to provide so many different challenges throughout, obviously, the few months that's coming. Hockenheimring, you have a bit of a technical course with plenty of opportunities. Daytona, you have those big straightaways. Long Beach, you have those walls. Hungaroring is pretty much Long Beach without the walls. Just so challenging. Spa, absolutely. Everyone loves it. Charlotte, I guess, it's one of, I guess you can say, the Joker round is just so difficult. It's going to be so interesting to see those Porsches tackling that race course. Road Atlanta is an absolutely amazing and fun race course. And to finish it off on the Red Bull Ring, I guess is fitting as well. Long straightaways, plenty of overtaking opportunities. And, well, as you mentioned, it just screams fun.
I love that you call Charlotte a Joker round. It's easily become one of the best road courses on the NASCAR schedule, and it hosts more than just NASCAR racing. It hosts Champ Car Endurance Series events. It's hosted the Lucky Dog Racing League for the last 2 years. It hosts several events throughout the year, and I genuinely believe it is one of the best road courses you can ever put together. Obviously, Daytona is Daytona. I don't know that you can necessarily beat Daytona, but it is easily one of the best road courses you could ever put in between four corners of oval racing, in between, you know, NASCAR walls and safer barriers. It's incredible. What they've done there at Charlotte is incredible, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it works with these Porsche Cup cars. It is going to be wild. I don't know what to expect. I really don't, and I think the chicanes obviously will handle a lot of what's going to go on in that race, but hey, that's for March 29th. That is over a month away, and we're already talking about it. I'm already beyond hyped for it. That's how much energy there is around this series. Qualifying is on the way. We've got 6 minutes left of practice. Let's use this time, JP, to try and meet some of the drivers. First up, let's check out a guy by the name of Brian Zinn, who is 5th right now in practice. The number 23 car to Texas is looking sharp.
Absolutely looking sharp, looking quite confident as well. Obviously, a lot of new names, a lot of new people, and we have quite a few familiars named from the past season of NARL that I could definitely catch my eye on. And just like this one, the number 77 of Diego Ari, he was present on the last season we had of GT3 Racing, a great racing driver as well, currently sitting 6th place, 0.4 of a second behind the leader. And amongst him, a lot of new drivers, a lot of old, I guess you could say old school drivers, and well, I'm just excited to meet them all, if I could, obviously.
And look at the addition of some new partners on that GPVA racing team car. I really like what's going on there for Diego Era. I'm excited to see how this goes for this season of racing for him. Here's a look at Brian Long. Of course, we got very familiar with him and Sim Racing for Simpletons with that number 76 car last season in the GT3 cars. Now with the Porsche 911, we get a look at him here. And there's also other new names that I'm at least familiar with, and I think other drivers out here and other teams will be. A lot of you other guys that are watching along, I know one of the Juncos Porsches out here, Juncos, I'm not entirely sure. I believe that's going to be, I got to find him. I know I had him locked down in pre-race, and they actually were one of the teams that reached out to us on Twitter and tagged us. Anyways, we'll get there. There's a lot of teams to go through. One of the teams, or one of the drivers we want to take a look at is, of course, Mike Braun, usually sporting those TAM liveries that we like so much. And, of course, you've got the Empire Racing logo there on the side of the car. Let's see if we can get a better look at it there. Yeah, that's a good-looking race car.
Yeah, that's an absolutely striking livery. It catches your eye. I guess you can say it's a powerful livery as well. The color combination looks amazing. And I like the details up front. It looks like some rubber bits were stuck in a car due to racing. As you can see, Turk Ashburn, the number 180 as well. A really good looking livery right there. Quite a contrast between the front and the rear end of the car. Really good one. And Andrew, this Porsche just looks so great, doesn't it?
Getting told it's likely Juncos. That makes a lot of sense. As far as Steve Ashburn and the livery on his car, it does look great, and the car looks fantastic, I must say. It kind of looks like it has nostrils on the hood. It's kind of weird, but otherwise, love what's going on with this brand new. Like I said in the intro, this is easily one of, if not the best Porsche 911 that we've been able to lay our eyes on. It's so fantastic. And you can see that I'm trying to think. My brain is kind of just escaped me for a moment, but Samsoid by Kanan, or is it Tony Kanan? Samsoid? Anyways, that affiliation there on the side of the car, you can see it real well there on the door. That's what inspires that livery, of course. The green and the yellow, you know, is the Brazilian flag. Those are your colors, JP. So I think that's a pretty special one to see. There's some other drivers in the field. I know Billy Bowerman is out there. We've known that name now for a few seasons. Sean Patterson is out here as well. Good to see him back around with his number 54 out of Canada. Let's talk about some of the more new names, though. I know I saw Alex Persian out there on Twitter. Very excited to see how he does in this season, and he's second in practice.
He's second in practice, only 24 thousandths of a second behind the leader, so already really excited and already looking really strong on practice. So if that's a long run, if that's a qualifying pace, either way it's very strong, very dominant so far. Obviously only 24,000, so that could be, you know, just a braking zone, just a turn in to get that what could be the fastest lap time possible. So the number 79 with an also really good chrome and red livery is looking
Yes.
quite strong.
Oh, it looks fantastic. And a big shout out to all the partners here with the North American Racing League Porsche Cup season. This is big. You know, we're able to add 2 really big partners onto this list that we didn't have previously. And I think it really does add to the whole atmosphere for this series. Virtual Racing School, VRS. I personally am a subscriber, and I mentioned to you guys before we went live here, 15 minutes ago, I got the email that my VRS receipt has been returned to me. My subscription was renewed literally 2 minutes before this broadcast started. That's timing. So a big shout out to VRS and all of the help that they've put into this series, and obviously setup help. That's been the biggest thing. But they do also have a fantastic telemetry program. Everything they have going on at VRS is big time. It's fantastic. I definitely enjoy what they have going on with VRS and their entire software, everything they have going on, their telemetry logger, it's all fantastic. And I'm trying to find the name of the setup builder. It's escaping me for now, but we'll make sure we get that later on in the day. It's definitely a proper setup builder that is putting a lot of time into this series. I want to say his first name is Pascal, so big shout out to him. And of course, a big shout out to Muradness, Daniel Morad, a professional racing driver in IMSA, in the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. He is easily, I think, one of the best, if not the best coach to go to on iRacing. I'm sure there's a lot of other great racing drivers out there, but this guy knows what he's doing. This guy knows what's up, especially in these GT cars. He is the guy to go to and put so much time and effort into supporting this North American Racing League in so many ways. All of these drivers that we talk to post-race, it seems like they always shout him out as the guy who got them to go a little bit faster that week and helped them get onto the podium, and that is, of course, why we get to talk to them. So it seems like Muradness and Daniel Morad specifically plays a massive role in every single driver's career in this North American Racing League. And of course, a lot of the liveries, a lot of the paint schemes you see on these race cars brought to you by Tam Livery, and everything behind the scenes, the website and all of that brought to you by JS Consulting. It's a fantastic program they've got going on here with the North American Racing League, and it's all about to get started. Practice coming to a close for round number 1 in this season, the first season of Porsche Cup Racing in North American Racing League. We got a big night ahead of us, JP. I got to save my breath, save my words. It's been an interesting couple of weeks trying to catch my breath, certainly, for these broadcasts. There's been a lot of broadcasting here at PitStopTV. 10 minutes of qualifying. It all begins now. And we've got some 30-odd drivers ready to get after it. Sean Patterson, one of the first ones to take to the track.
Yeah, already taken into the track. Obviously, the drivers on the first few laps are going to be, on the first lap actually, just going to be warming up the tires, warming up the brake, getting those tires up to temperature and obviously the pressures, getting to know the track, temperature, obviously those braking zones, turn-in zones, everything should be dialed in. Obviously, this lap as well, take a deep breath, getting rid of those nerves. This is the first qualifying session of the season. You want to do well, but obviously, if you don't, it's perfectly fine. Just keep going at it. They have 3 laps, Andrew. It's plenty of time to get it nailed down. If you make a mistake, just, do it again, get another lap in. Hopefully, they're going to be fighting in the fighting for pole with the shortest amount of difference between them.
We'll see how these first few drivers can get on in qualifying. Zachariah Rosar, another driver to watch in that 199. I've noticed him a lot in the league Discord and talking about just getting ready for this season. There's so many drivers, I think, that are ready to get going. And one of our favorites, William Coffey, he's out here in the number 57 car with Long Shot. I believe it's an energy drink on the side of his number 57 Porsche. Nice, metallic, almost chrome red, the rims to match. That looks good there, Will. Glad to see him out here and ready to go for another season of North American Racing League action. And of course, we don't have a graphic for you just yet. We'll make sure we have that next Tuesday at Daytona, but there is another season of GT3 racing coming up, and we expect to see William Coffey playing another big role in that season as well. Let's take a look at Jay Shallington, one of the drivers that I noticed was pretty quick into the hairpin here. And, we don't know what to expect. I think that's one of the best things about this season is we don't know who is going to be fast. We've kind of learned who to watch out for, JP, in the GT3 cars, but these are a different monster.
Oh, absolutely. Some drivers will drive better the GT3 car. Some other will feel at home with the Porsche Cup car. And obviously, performance will vary track by track. Some drivers might feel like this is their home track where they have that free time. You can find those extra 2-3 tenths of a second. Some drivers might have that later on in the season at the Red Bull Ring, at Charlotte, at Spa. So It's going to be really interesting to see how the performance is going to swing from driver to driver, week in and week out. And obviously, it's just going to make the championship even more exciting to watch, and obviously just to follow race after race.
Watching Robert Guadagnoli. These names are going to definitely challenge us for a little bit, so if you hear your name mispronounced, by all means, reach out to us, correct us. We want to get your name right, and we accept that we're probably not going to at first. This is going to be a big season. We've got 100 drivers signed up for this series, JP. When I put the numbers together and when I noticed that we were literally at 3 digits of drivers, 100, I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy to think, and I'm pretty sure we even had a waiting list of drivers trying to join in the series, so it's absolutely, yeah, it's absolutely incredible to think about that. And we're so honored to be, well, to be here as well. It's just amazing to think that so many drivers want to take part in this series, and I guess rightfully so, Andrew. It's just so much fun to follow it.
The sheer professionalism and effort that is put into this series by so many people, obviously it starts with Scott Reister and trickles down. It blows me away. It really does. There's a ton of effort that goes in. Obviously, you know, a good bit of funds that go in because that's how you make the world turn these days. But there's just so much that happens, and it really is admirable. It really is, I think, worthy of thanks every single day that we are able to witness North American Racing League action. And certainly a big shout out goes out to Scott Reister, making another season of racing, allowing another season of racing to grace the screens of PitStopTV. Let's go ahead and take a look back trackside as we've got a new fastest driver in qualifying. It's somebody we took a look at a little while ago, JP. Brian Zinn, fastest so far.
So far by quite a few tenths of a second, actually 1.98 tenths of a second, so quite a close gap. Obviously for the first lap that might be good. Obviously he's going to be trying as well to improve that lap time, as will each and every single other driver that has set a lap in. You can see a few drivers already for a big gap, maybe a few mistakes, but Zinn is looking very strong. And well, there you go, just got dethroned Castro, who's fastest in practice as well, goes over 139.8, so 2.5 tenths clear of Zinn, who just got beaten by Willis as well. So really close times between Castro and Willis, 27 thousandths of a second.
A lot of times you're starting to check in here. Augustine Castro now top of the board. Alex Persian goes high. Will Coffey goes pretty high up there. Aubrey Kundal as well. I don't have to get that one right. Audrey Kundal. And I was told pre-race by the one, the only Scott Reister, this is the first female driver that is racing in points-paying competition in the North American Racing League. Now, we had Love 46 and some of her crew that showed up for the most recent Streamer Championship, and that was an honor to have Love 46 along for the ride. But to have Aubrey Kundal in the series now for the Porsche Cup season is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to see, and obviously having that integration, you know, female drivers joining in and putting an absolutely amazing performance as well, Andrew.
And I think
Fifth
proving
place,
that sim racing is for everybody.
It's not,
that's the big thing.
Yeah, it's not only for men, not only sim racing, but motor racing as well. It's time to get rid of that, you know, it's just a male thing. Absolutely not. Everybody can participate, and well, everybody can put a great performance as well.
Yeah, motorsport is for everybody. It's all inclusive. We want everyone to be able to join in here for any kind of motorsport. And, well, somebody who's joining in on the top of the board, Brian Long. How about that for the number 76 with SR4S along the side of that race car? Goes up to the top, goes faster than Augustine Castro as time starts to wane here, and look at that, Augustine now fastest. These drivers have 3 laps to put down a time, and they've been warned to follow qualifying scrutiny, to be careful with how they warm these tires up, but they've got 3 laps to bring these tires up to temp, and they're only going to get faster as the session wears on.
Yeah, absolutely. The tires are going to get obviously into pressure, into temperature range, the brakes as well, and drivers will just get more confidence. As you can see now, Persian going 48 thousandths of a second faster than Castro, so times are really swinging, Andrew, and something we're used to in NARL is the closeness of qualifying, aren't we? Just laps and pole positions being defined by less than 1/10 of a second, half a tenth of a second, so we're kind of used to it, but it still shocks me to see how close it can get.
Taking a look here at Dan Willis, the number 127, one of your Moradness drivers. There's a lot of them out there. I talked a lot. I said quite a few words a little while ago about Daniel Morad and the whole operation he has going on with Moradness. I'm lucky enough to be in that Discord server and just see firsthand how that whole thing goes. And it's big. It is crazy. The effect that he has had on sim racing in the last couple of years is big, and you can see it here. Dan Willis joining the frame. Pretty fast. 4th place right now, and I think he's going to go a little bit faster here before qualifying is over. Doesn't quite go faster that lap, but he's still got another lap out there, I do believe, another chance to go a good bit quicker and see what he can put down. A few other drivers coming around, beginning their 2nd lap potentially, that have maybe gone a little bit awry. Andrew Rasmussen, one of them with Twisted Motorsport. We've seen them out here before with the North American Racing League. A bit of a slide there out of turn 1. He is on lap number 2, it looks like. So that's one lap burned that he might have gone off track and kind of, unfortunately, given up.
Yeah, unfortunately, not the best start for him. Obviously, he still has one more lap if he can get enough time to cross the start finish line. As you can see now, Clarence Rose at the number 98, someone we're also quite used to on the last season of NARL. Looks like he's approaching the hairpin turn 4 right now. But Andrew, something as well we need to mention about Moradness. Daniel Morad is actually, we met him in 2018, wasn't it, on Opmo? And I kind of just didn't lose contact. He was just such a great person and a great driver back then. And it's so nice to see the effect that he had on the sim racing community and the positive effect that he had on iRacing as well. Yeah,
2020 when Opmo was pushed into, and they're actually racing this evening as well, but when they were pushed into, obviously, the depths of the coronavirus pandemic and not being able to do a whole lot, not being able to get to the racetrack, they took to iRacing, and we were lucky enough to be a part of, some of the beginnings of their series. And, yeah, Daniel Morad was in that first race at VIR in the Barbie livery, so we remember that one very much. I will never forget him turning up to VIR in a pink Barbie, Mazda Miata here on the iRacing.com service. That will forever be ingrained in my brain, but yeah, certainly has had a large and I think certainly lasting effect on sim racing already. Max Tanqueral, I'm going to hope that's pretty close. Tanqueral might be a little bit closer. Either way, Max is just a second off a pole here. He's rounding the final couple of corners. You see a Race Lab logo on the bottom of that car, right on the rocker panel. He's looking pretty quick.
Pretty quick. Looks like he's going to be finishing up his 2nd or 3rd lap. As you can see, the time to beat his best time was a 1:40. Looks like he's going to be darting into the pit, so probably an invalidated lap time. That's going to give him the opportunity to train the pit entry, just getting those braking zones settled in if he so does need it on the race. So unfortunately for him, looks like he's going to be 21st for the time being, just shy of over a second away from pole. As you can see now, Rasmussen looks like he's going to be approaching the hairpin. This might be just his final shot, Andrew. And, well, looks like he doesn't have a time set in yet, unfortunately.
And here's a look at Andrew Rasmussen working around. A shout out to Zach Burness. I just noticed that I was getting a call from him. So if you heard my phone vibrating, yeah, you can owe it to the guy that drives the 102 in a legend car. But here's Andrew Rasmussen. Time going to run out here in qualifying. He should get a chance to finish up his lap, and he's one of 2 drivers left on the racetrack. He and Daniel Harris, and maybe not. I think time is going to expire on him there, so I guess we're not going to get that chance to finish up the lap, and that is it for qualifying. We'll go ahead and turn things over then to our grid, as it will be a standing start. So we're not going to have a whole lot of time to go through our grid, but we'll do our best. If we can go ahead and pull this up. Front row, Alex Persian, Augustine Castro, positions 1 and 2. Brian Long will start from 3rd. Dan Willis will start from 4th. Jay Shallington will start from the 5th position on the 012. Then it's Dominic Turcotte I'm going to go with there in 6th. You see the 03 car, Spiker, I'm going to hope. I'm not sure on the first name. Brian Zinn will roll off from 8th, though. I do know how to say that. You'll have Miguel Cardozo, it looks like, at the number 49, and Bobby Flack starting 10th.
In 11th place, we're going to have Aubrey Kundal in the 653 and the 57 of William Coffey in 12th place. 13th place will go the way of Eduardo Lorente in the number 9 and William Valdez in the number 28. 15th place will go the way of Tree Ashburn in the 180 and the 05 of Armando Bajaran in 16th place. 17th place will go the way of Diego Ere in his 77 and David Pickram in the 420. And we're going to let the rest of the grid roll on by because, Andrew, we're ready to go.
We are ready to go. Race number 1, the amateur race. We haven't even mentioned that part. We have 2 races tonight. A 30-minute amateur race that begins now and a pro race later on. Already a big jumble further back. We'll let this breathe. We'll let this figure itself out, but a big jumble in the back. Already a crash, the 66 around. And that is Jean Karadek. That is one of the Duck Hawk Racing machines. Bit of trouble for him. He gets rolling. Everybody else gets rolling.
Everybody else rolling. Looks like we're just exiting turn number 3, getting into the Parabolica corner, the massive straightaway. Now it's going to be a slipstream fast, and as you mentioned, Andrew, we had quite a big start. We saw drivers going 5 wide. As you can see, a few challenge. Looks like a challenge for second place down into the hairpin. A few extra drivers going side by side, but looks like, oh, we have a car going really deep on the braking. Somehow manages to get it slowed down, but the rest of the field makes it through cleanly into the hairpin.
What a sight that is, watching some 30, almost 40 cars work through the hairpin here at Hockenheimring. 1 minute done. Into the Mercedes arena now. Oh, I saw the Junkos Porsche up on the curbing there, that turtle curbing. You don't want to hit that. The Maradnas car off in the dirt. That's Dan Willis. Oh, car's spinning around further back.
Yeah, even more contact. We just saw a puff of smoke, so few extra drivers having difficulty on that arena section. As you can see, the leader absolutely checking out already. A bit of a gap. Oh, one car going really wide. Looks like he's going to be able to save it, but a hectic but clean lap, I guess you can say, Andrew.
And I believe that may have been Diego Eda back there well in the dirt. This is going to be a hectic series, I'll tell you that much, but 1 lap is in the books in this AM race.
And as you can see, Castro already 1.2 seconds clear of Brian Long, who's just battling with Persian for second place. As you can see, that gap kind of just going away. We can see a few extra drivers going wide into the final corner. You can see a few extra drivers having difficulty on the final part of the racetrack. One darting into the pits quite aggressively. 2 cars looks like on the pit lane. Could that be a false start?
Jeff Castillo's one of them. Another driver, it looks like, in the pit lane is going to be Steven Grabowski. Oh, maybe not Steven Grabowski, actually. It looks like he might have started from the pit lane, though, so his data will not load in our graphics. But several drivers in, including the 12 car of Andrija Divac. I'm going to hope that's correct. William Love is in the pit lane as well. Let's go ahead and bring this up a little better. There's a look at his SR4S machine. Eduardo Lorente in the pit lane. Dave Pickram in the pit lane. Zachariah Rosar as well. A lot of damage for a lot of these cars early. Well, let's go back out onto the racetrack. Let's go back out to the top of the competition here. Sim Racing for Simpletons. Seems like it's rather complicated as to how he got to the lead. Oh! That corner exit's rather complicated. Oh, no!
Yeah, we had a switch for the lead. Brian Longo's leading the race. Looks like Castro got a difficulties, and he unfortunately spun. Looks like on turn number 6, just on the entry of the arena section.
Oh, he's been hit again. That was the 11 car, Andrew Rasmussen.
Oh, just a bit of contact. That was the worst place probably to be. Spun around. Luckily for him, kind of got turned around in the right position and can get back rolling, but that's going to be big aero damage for his Porsche.
That it is. Back up front, we've now got a 2-car race. It's a second gap back from Turcotte to Zinn now. Boy, this is this is a lot. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to take us, I think, just a few moments to kind of acclimate to. We've had some pretty hectic racing with British sim racers lately, but this is a whole new level.
Yes, absolutely. This is just crazy, and I guess it's a good kind of crazy because I absolutely love it. Obviously, the number 79 had a bit of damage contact. Oh, even more drivers spinning. That's going to be Nicholas Kai in the number 42. Who was spun around, looks like on just shy of turn 13.
Final couple of corners, yeah. Nicholas Sykes around, and you saw Jean Karadec as well on the number 66 for Duck Hawk Racing. A rough start for them, as hopefully their Pro and Pro-Am drivers are a bit better a little bit later on. Well, I guess fair a bit better. He was pretty good there at the start, just had some bad luck there out of Brazil. And that's something we need to talk about, I think, is Duck Hawk Racing's involvement with Fabio Zamperlini and everybody going on there. And we also got to talk about the fact that there are split teams because, you know, we've got drivers in Am, we've got drivers in Pro-Am and drivers in Pro. We haven't even talked about that yet. We were so enthralled with everything else, all the energy around this series, we kind of forgot the fact that there's 2 races tonight. 3 different classes of drivers now, which is a bit different from what we're used to. We've got this amateur race now that's going on for 30 minutes of racing. We'll have this for the rest of the season. But then later on, we've got a second race on the evening, JP, Pro-Am and Pro drivers. So 55 total drivers are eligible for this amateur series, this amateur race, this amateur championship. There are 45 drivers between Pro and Pro-Am. It comes out to 100. Although there might be one that was stripped out. So it might be 99. Either way, we're going to say 100. Sounds a whole lot better. Just a few laps done here. This will complete lap number 3 and roll us on to lap number 4. Alex Persian, your leader. Dominic Turcotte, second place. Brian Zinn, third. And the interesting thing about Alex Persian is he goes purple. Is he quote tweeted our promo tweet about this race, saying this was his first league race ever. His first league race ever on the iRacing.com sim, and he's leading.
Hey, absolutely. I saw that tweet. He was absolutely ecstatic to be racing. And obviously, it didn't get off to the best of starts. You can see even a bit of damage on that Porsche, but his motivation is absolutely pushing him. And he just went fastest. He's creating a bit of a gap to Turcotte right behind him. So he's doing fantastic, Andrew. Obviously, it's still 24 minutes to go. So plenty of racing for him. But so far, it's the perfect start.
Good looking number 79 car there. Aubrey Kundle a little further back. She's in the top 10, just ahead of Teague Ashburn. Actually, a little ways ahead of Teague Ashburn. She's closer to picking up 5th place. Currently in 6th, as I mentioned, but very close, I'd say, to going up there and challenging for positions ahead. You can see Spiker up there, Augustine Castro, and a few others.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a great pace so far early on in the race. I can see from the rear view mirror, looks like a bit of a Mark Webber tribute helmet on the Red Bull, so really good to see that as well. And, well, that pace, Andrew, is really good. As you can see, Spiker and Castro as well battling, so that could bring those two closer to her, and hopefully you can have a 3-car battle. As you can see, a better look at that helmet. And, well, confidence is the key. Right now is the time to maybe push that car a little bit more, you know, maybe just she's saving a little bit of tires, saving a little bit of fuel. We're not quite sure what the strategy is going to be here, but definitely 6th place and, well, keeping up with the guys in front and pulling away from the guys behind. It's a perfect start, a really good start.
And you touched on something there that I was going to touch on if you didn't. There's a lot of unknowns. We don't know exactly how these drivers are going to push these tires yet. We've had some experiences with these cars, but not many. And this car has been overhauled. It's obviously been brought into the iRacing.com sim. It handles so much better than the previous Porsche 911 GT3 Cup car that was in the sim. This is a fantastic car to drive. Drivers that I know have IMSA experience that didn't used to want to drive the Porsche Cup car just because it was so crazy to try and get a hold on, they love this car now. I'm thinking of one guy in particular. I don't know if he's watching this evening. Hopefully he is. But there are drivers that didn't used to run these cars. They now do, even in official racing. And they'll go race it at the Nürburgring, on the Nordschleife. The fact that drivers that didn't used to run this car at all are now willing to go drive it on the Nordschleife, I think is a testament to the quality of this race car as a whole and the quality of work that iRacing has put into it, bringing it to life in the iRacing.com sim. Let's look further back in this top 10. William Valdez currently in 9th for Wahuka Racing. We're used to seeing his name and the Wahuka name aboard these race cars in NARL. We're also used to seeing Diego Era. We talked about him a little while ago, JP, and the GPVA colors on there, new sponsors. This is cool to see him with a lot of growth in that team.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to mention, you know, having all those sponsors taking on that, well, obviously that sponsor role is just really good. A testament not only to his quality as a driver, but also the team growing. And hopefully we can see that sponsor role really increasing. And hopefully we can see that car maybe filled up, looking like maybe a NASCAR car at the end of the season. But as you mentioned, those two drivers, we're kind of used to seeing them. It's really good to have them back. And hopefully we can see plenty more of them as we have, looks like, a battle evolving on the, looks like just outside the top 10. That's going to be Rasmussen, right? Had contact a bit early on in the race.
Yeah, Todd Malik is the 150 car, one of the Samsung esports machines there with the kind of blue and orange, yellow almost. Hard to describe. Is that orange? Yeah, that's definitely orange in that 150 car. So that's a look at Todd Malik. He's followed up by Andrew Rasmussen. A look at the 14 of Max Tankerel taking a look to the inside of Brian Long. And let's not forget, unfortunately, Brian Long did spin out of the lead, and he has dropped now down to 17th spot. Not too bad given the circumstances, but he shouldn't have been in those circumstances, unfortunately. A small error, and his race has gone right quickly. And look at this. Todd Malik giving some spots up.
Yeah, looks like, unfortunately, a bad exit. As you can see, Rasmussen going on his outside. Looks like he's just going to be maybe swallowing. As you can see, quite a few drivers taking a face. Yeah, everybody just being a little bit cautious on the first few laps, on the first race of the season. But yeah, looks like everybody follows back in a straight line. Looks like Rasmussen ended up losing a position on all of that. And, well, they kept it clean. Brian Long as well lost a few positions. Now, I wonder, Andrew, is this Rasmussen related to the F1 Esports Rasmussen?
Oh, that I have no clue. That's a good question. If he does podium at some point this season, we've got to ask him, I suppose. I would imagine... Well, I don't know. I don't even want to draw a conclusion there because I genuinely am not sure. Another battle further back. Clarence Rosa and Steven Grabowski. This is for 23rd. I just noticed a position change here. Grabowski, I believe, giving that spot up to Clarence Rosa, and the TAM livery is number 98. I see the fan club for old Dominic Turcotte is turning up. Here's a good look at this battle. This is actually a really good battle to go ahead and come to. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
Yeah, you can see Zin going down the inside into turn number 2. Probably going to get the position. Yes, the 23 just makes his way past. Now Castro as well looking towards to get that position on the 14. As you can see, that shiny, I guess you can say chrome Red Bull livery looks absolutely really good. And now Turcotte is going to be losing 2 positions. Probably could defend using the slipstream, but Castro is going to have the inside line into the braking zone. Who's going to come out on top? Maybe just side by side, a little bit of a lockup. Going a little bit wide, as you can see, Castro pushing maybe Turcotte a little bit too wide. Is going to be dropping all the way into 5th place. Spiker, and now it looks like Kundal in 6th place, really brought up into this battle.
Yeah, Aubrey's now going to have a chance to go to toe. Oh, boy, we've got some crashes right behind here. The 03 of Spiker's just gone around. That's a lot of damage on that car. My goodness, what a walloping that car just took to the outside wall. Let's go ahead and fire up the PitStopTV replay for the first time this evening and take a look at this.
I'm interested to see what happened. Maybe a dive bomb, but obviously you mentioned hitting the wall, but came out pointing in the right direction. This is just entering the arena. As you can see, Spiker did just get lost. Maybe a contact under brake. Oh, there we go.
Turcotte turned her. Turcotte got in there deep and just got into the back of Ilya. I say turned her. I don't know here for Ilya Spiker. I was thinking for some reason of Aubrey Kundal right there. Aubrey thankfully gets on through that. So a nice little Cinderella story potentially developing for the 653. And I guess we could say Cinderella story now, but we don't know. Aubrey could be one of the front runners all season long, and Alex Persian could absolutely be one of the best drivers in this series all season long. We just don't know yet. There's so much to be learned with each of these drivers and so much to find out. This is going to be a lot of fun learning each of these drivers over the course of 8 races.
Oh, absolutely. As we mentioned, you know, the performance might just vary from track to track. So this could be a weak point for some of these drivers, but also could be a really strong for other ones. As you can see, even more battles. This is Kundal. Looks like already up into 4th place, battling Turcotte as we head into their hairpin. She's going to be forced to the outside. Can she stick that position? Maybe just a little bit of contact, being pushed a little bit wide. They're still going to go side by side, Andrew. This is really exciting to see.
So out of the hairpin, they'll work to turn 7. A lap ago, they had some trouble over here. Turcotte got in there deep, and now Turcotte trying to defend. Takes the inside line here from the Mercedes Arena through turn 8, now turns 9 and 10. And Kundal's just hanging there. Aubrey right on the inside of that 73 car. That's going to open the door for Teague Ashburn.
Yeah, absolutely. Mobile 1 looks like we're not going to see a move. Now coming to the tricky section as we are approaching Sachs Corner. As you can see, turn number 9. Not a great corner if you're a Sebastian Vettel fan in 2018, but looks like all of these drivers navigated safely, and a bit of a gap was created. So looks like Kundal is stronger on this section of the racetrack, as you can see, attacking a little bit of those final 2 corners a bit more aggressively than the drivers ahead and behind her. So for now, keeping the position in 5th place, but still in that slipstream range, Andrew. So a lot can happen as we approach again the Parabolica straightaway in a few seconds.
And I think this is a fun perspective. This shows you enough on board with Teague Ashburn to see, obviously, what's going out in front of this car, what he's doing with the wheel, and you can see on the dash there, you can see the gears, you can see the RPMs, you can see what's going on for him. I'm not sure if that's going to light up with the actual lockup lights when you lock up the front and rear tires, but if so, that'll be cool. There's a battle developing further ahead. Here we go. 2nd place, Brian Zinn and Augustine Castro. This is going to be fun down to the hairpin.
Yeah, this almost happened a lap ago, but looks like it's going to happen right now. Castro looks like just a little bit cautious on the braking so far in the race. Oh, looks like no, just hit the braking zone perfectly. Now it's going to get a good run outside of the hairpin. Looks like they're going to go side by side into turn number 5. Still side by side, really close getting into the curb. Now looks like Castro is going to be forced to the outside. Can they both stick it side by side? No, looks like Zinn might just have this position for now, and Castro will have to hold off for a few extra corners. So looks like Brian Zinn, Andrew, is doing a fantastic job defending, and all of this battle, look at the gap that Persian already built up, 5.3 seconds.
Alex Persian is setting sail right now. He might even have his favorite Spotify playlist on and just chilling like a villain right now, just driving away from this field. Look at that lunge there from Castro into that kind of, you know what that feels like? That feels like the carousel at Watkins Glen, just that little bit of banking, or even what I call NASCAR. I can never remember the corner name at the Nordschleife, but that one banked corner where you're just able to get right down to the bottom side of the course and just You can carry so much speed in that banking. It feels like a NASCAR banked corner in that second arena section, if you will. It's a lot of fun to actually go through, and especially the car that can handle it like these Porsches. Still on board here with Brian Zinn. Let's move around the field a little more as we pass halfway. Actually, maybe a move there from Castro. I guess we're going to stay right here.
Yeah, looks like we're going to be forced to stay right here. As you can see, Castro might just have a better run. Even if he does not, well, the slipstream is really going to help that Porsche. You're just going to see that logo, that Red Bull logo closing in. As look at this, Kundal still not done with Turcotte. They're going to go side by side into the braking zone. This time, the number 653 on the inside line, the number 73 on the outside defending this time. Who's going to go deeper on the braking? As you can see, even a few battles up ahead. Looks like Turcotte might just have to defend a little bit, might just have to yield that position. Yes, he does. So losing a little bit. And look at Ashburn right now. Probably going to try to take advantage of that one, but not close enough to do it on the Small King.
No dice just yet. Ashburn just follows along for the moment. Oh, a bit wide there for Turcotte. Gives that spot up. Drop Turcotte out of the top five. You're right. Augustine Castro now up a spot. Is there enough time maybe for Augustine to reel Alex Persian in?
Oh, that would be interesting. Obviously, right now in clear air, Castro could just, well, he was fastest in qualifying and in practice, so definitely within a shot right there. 13 minutes could definitely be possible, but 6.2 is a big gap to take away.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot like what we saw at Brands Hatch earlier, right, where there's just maybe not enough time, where Jason Cooper was trying to reel in Paul Donkin. I don't know. It's going to be close. We'll see how the lap times trend. The best lap does go, it looks like, to Augustine Castro, so that's pretty big to think about. It's about a 10.5 difference between Persian and Castro's best lap, so clearly there's pace in the 014 car. Just got to see if Augustine can make up that time. Let's drop back now further in the field. Here's a good look at a nice little battle. Dan Willis with trouble here from Miguel Cardoso. This is going to go down to down to turn 2, and the Juncos Porsche up the inside.
As you can see, going side by side now on the exit. Oh, a bit of door banging right there. So, well.
Oh, more contact.
Oh, even more contact.
That looked like some shenanigans.
Yes, and it looks like that Porsche, that bright green Porsche, unfortunately is going to come out of it a bit of damage. Not too much. Looks like a bit of bodywork and aero damage. And obviously losing quite a bit of time on the straightaway. You can see now the number 49 having to defend from the number 57 down into the hairpin. Oh, even more trouble up ahead.
William Valdez for Wahuka Racing around out of the hairpin. One car wide behind him. That might have been Todd Malik, actually, in the 150, and I think it was. Boy, drama galore right now in the mid stages of this race. Mid to late stages, really. We're coming down to 11 minutes to go in just a moment. And that'll mean, obviously, 10 minutes to go after that. And in a race where we're only expecting 18 laps to be on lap 11, coming to lap 12, yeah, we're coming up to 2/3 of the way through this race. It's going by quick.
It's absolutely flying by. Well, time flies by when you're having fun, right, Andrew? And I'm having an absolute blast. I'm pretty sure this guy is also having an absolute blast. Even with the damaged Porsche, is just driving away, kind of creating that gap between him and Castro and securing himself as what could be the first winner. I'm not going to talk too much because, you know, my curse is pretty bad, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut. As you can see now, the number 653 challenging, looks like Brian Zinn for the overall podium position. The number 12 making its way. Looks like we're going to have, yeah, unfortunately for him, looks like that's going to be not terminal damage, but definitely coming into the pits to maybe service that car.
Yeah, not a great start to things, rather, for the Moradness 127 with Quantum Pay along the side of that car. It looked like some shenanigans. I got to be honest. He's going to go ahead and grab a fast fix and get back out there. Dan Willis out of New York, but yeah, that was interesting to say the least. Here's a look at Joshua Benjamin, a battle we were going to look at, battling with Jay Shallington. This is for 15th on the racetrack. The 012 and the 78 going after it.
Looks like this is going to be the prime overtaking opportunity of the racetrack coming down into the hairpin. This is essentially who breaks the latest, but looks like this position is done well before the braking zone, and while he just gets that position on what is also, Andrew, a really good livery as well. Looks like a chrome with a bit of a rainbow colors. I really like that as well, and that's something we kind of used to in NRL, isn't it? Just great liveries on all these cars.
Yeah, a lot of them thanks to TAM liveries. You know, the work that's put in, and I've said this already this evening, the work that's put in with this series in general is just staggering. It all comes off so professional, and there's a reason so many drivers flock to these NARL events and series. We're watching a battle just inside the top 10. Diego Era with Ilya Spiker. there's a reason so many drivers turn up to these races in these series now, and it shows, I think. That the competition is there, the professionalism is there, the fun level is there, and obviously there's some great prizes for these drivers as well. So there's just so many great reasons to pop into these series. It's just, yeah, everything with the North American Racing League is certainly worth it. And, oh wow, look at that, Brandon Dollar, the painter of the livery on that 78 car. Was that custom, Brandon, or was that a trading paints livery? I gotta know. This is the battle still for 8th place. You can see the partners there on the left side of the screen. Virtual Racing School, otherwise known as VRS. Of course, Moradness, as well as TAM Livery and JS Consulting. Making a lot of things happen. Let's take a look further up in the top 10, side by side of the hairpin once more. Go Kundal rather, and Zin. Zin is going to get that spot. Kundal missed the corner.
And unfortunately, Maya just loses an extra position right here as we head into the kink and then the arena section. Yeah, just forced to give out that position for the time being. So battling for third looks like it's going to drop all the way down into 5th place at this time. And Ashburn is going to be thanking for that because essentially a free position. Now Ashburn is going to have to see if he has the pace to challenge maybe Brian Zinn for the final spot in the podium. As you can see, the number 73 of Turcotte essentially just trying to close in the gap as well, but he's going to fall under pressure from Flack just behind him.
A little further back, Mike Braun, one of those drivers we're familiar with. He sorts just behind Jeff Castillo and Armando Bejaran, who are doing some battle through the hairpin here. Teammates for Wahuka Racing. I like the unified liveries on these cars now. Jeff Castillo and Armando Bejaran, teammates to William Valdez, we saw have some trouble a little bit ago. But it looks like these two are getting along relatively nicely. Maybe not with the same pace as we saw at William Valdez earlier on in this race, but certainly still pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And those teammates, as you mentioned, if they can work together, they can probably catch a few of those guys up in front if there is enough time. But looks like maybe a little bit of damage will hold them back. But as you mentioned, Andrew, those synchronized, I guess you can say, liveries, those similar liveries really do look well on the Porsche. I absolutely love them. And while working together as a team will definitely help them catch those drivers up in front.
I see some others popping in on the YouTube chat. Of course, Brandon Dollar, as I mentioned. I see Matthew Church out there. Blue, your boy. We've got Ezimart Montero, Goyo Dorso. Obviously, Daniel Moreto's out there. I see Octavio Rondoletto. And, of course, Federico Tamayo. Good to see Federico back for another go-around here with the North American Racing League. A lot of battles throughout the entire series. Let's start towards the back end and kind of work our way up here at JP. There's a lot of cars to go through, but let's take a look. So here is position 33, the last position on the racetrack, I think, letting a leader by Robert Guadagnoli. Certainly some Chase Elliott inspiration there. He must be a NASCAR fan. I wonder if he goes to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I've been there a time or two. Certainly inspired by one number 9 car in the NASCAR Cup Series. He is currently in the 33rd spot, and yeah, letting some of the leaders by here through the midfield sections of the racetrack. Here's a look at Andrija Divac out of Illinois. 32nd spot. Actually, let's go ahead and bring up this graphic to go ahead and aid us with this. Jean Karadek, rather, for Duck Hawk Racing in the 31st spot. Obviously had that spin that we called out a couple of times a little earlier on in this race. A look at Daniel Harris as well. I do like this car. If you're not affiliated with a team, if you're an independent driver in this series, this is a good one to go with. I really like just the classic Porsche 911 GT3 Cup livery. I just having that nice little insignia there on the door, the nice little racing stripe. That is clean. I like that a lot. Props to Daniel Harris there.
Well, it's just so simple, but yeah, it looks so good. I absolutely love it as well, Andrew. As you can see now, Josh Kroom currently in 29th place. Also quite a different livery, I guess you can say, white and then green and black, a bright green as well. Looks really, really good. I absolutely like that livery. And it's difficult to find a livery which we don't like, Andrew, right? And William Love in 28th place currently in his Four Simpletons livery. As you can see, the number 67 as well. Mike Braun. Oh, unfortunately coming into the pits, and that might be due to damage, Andrew. Cars. Yes, and you can see damage being fixed on the front end of the car, pretty much just changing the front nose in the 107, currently in 27th place. And as you mentioned, it's one of the TAM livery cars now. Nicholas Kai is in the number 42. Kind of looks like a retro livery as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got some vibes there as he runs in the 26th spot, started 30th, up a few spots. Can't be upset with that. Armando Bejaran and Jeff Castillo, we saw them a bit ago. They're 23rd, or rather 24th and 25th. Steven Grabowski up ahead is in the 23rd spot. Clarence Rosa checks in from the 22nd position. Thomas Baker in 21st. We'll get a look at his car. And actually, let's go further back. That looks like Mike Braun's car of old. So I like what's going on here. I know that's another Tam Liveries car. I really enjoy that. Tam, props on that one. I really enjoy kind of the abstract look to it. Just so busy in a good way. You know, you don't want to overdo it with the paint scheme, but this works really nicely for the Empire Racing number 98. Thomas Baker out there in 21st, and then number 307. William Valdez, we saw his spin a little bit ago, now in the 20th position. Sean Patterson there in the 19th spot, working his way up through the field. Started 33rd. I like the improvement there out of Sean Patterson. Up ahead, Andrew Rasmussen for Twisted Motorsport. Up through half of the field from 36th to 18th. You can't argue with that. Brian D. Long up there for Sim Racing for Simpletons. In the 17th position, Jay Shallington is 16th. Joshua Benjamin is 15th. Todd Malik, as we keep going forward, one of the Samsoid cars here, JP, in the 14th spot.
Ahead of him in 13th spot, it's going to be the driver of, looks like, is that a teammate? Yeah, a teammate. So another Samsung car, Scott Angelo in 13th spot.
And I'm going to stop you here, JP. I noticed a logo on that car. I'll see if we can get a look at it here up in Oceana Coffee. There was a team that entered into the previous GT3 season. I had never seen Oceana Coffee on a car, but I knew that they were a team. Now we finally know it was Scott Angelo, at the very least, if not other drivers with Garage61.net on that Samsoid car as well. I had never known which car was Oceana Coffee. Now we know. It's Oceana Coffee's Scott Angelo in the number position 13, as Clarence Rosa actually just went around out of the hairpin. Let's get back up to our run down through the field, though, JP, and we left off with Teague Ashburn.
Yeah, Teague Ashburn looks like he had an instant injury because he was running the top 5, wasn't he? So unfortunately, something happened to him. Currently in 12th place, started 15th, so he's still making quite a bit of progress. Max Tankerel currently in 11th place, also made a 10th position so far in the race. So a really good uphill race from him in 10th place. In 9th place is going to be William Coffey. Oh, no, in 10th place is going to be William Coffey right now. Elias Piker currently in 9th place. Unfortunately, started 7th, so losing 2 spots. Looks like battling currently with Cardozo. Looks like for 8th place. Yeah, Miguel Angel Cardozo currently battling drag racing on the back straightaway on that. Absolutely. We're going to have to, stop the countdown right here to see who's going to come out on top. And it looks like it's going to be Cardozo with not a lot of damage. Just so much better aero on that car. 7th place is going to be the one and only, the one they're kind of used to, Diego Ari in his number 77. Also kind of a darker livery, but absolutely striking. Started 17th as well. So Bobby Flack currently in 6th place, started 10th. So 4th place up for him in the number 22. And 5th place is going to be Turcotte, driver Dominic Turcotte. We're kind of used to. Also looks like not a standard Porsche livery, Andrew, but it kind of just looks like a factory livery, doesn't it?
It looks great. I like what's going on there. It's just so nice and clean and simple. I really like it. If you're not going to have affiliation, if you don't have affiliation, those simple Porsche paint schemes just look so good. And I noticed the Bobby Flack as well. Must be one of the other Tam livery cars. Empire Racing on that car. It's got to have that affiliation. Aubrey Kundle further ahead as we work onto the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. Aubrey Kundle in the 653 in the 4th spot, Brian Zinn in 3rd, and there has been very little battle up here. The top runners, the front runners have split apart. That's why we had this chance to go through the field like this. Here's a look at Augustine Castro, and we've seen our race leader a whole lot today, Alex Persian, on the final lap, working through Parabolica. Just about, a mile and a half to go in this lap?
Tell me about that. Just a few extra corners. Obviously, he's going to enter soon. The most difficult part of the race course right now is quite simple as he heads into the biggest braking zone in the circuit, the hairpin. Now approaching the small kink and then the arena section. And what a drive from him, Andrew. 5.4 second, maintaining the pace even with a damaged car. What a race! What a way to start your sim racing league career, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it's incredible to me that Alex has never run a league race on iRacing before, but like I said, probably plugged into Spotify and just chilling at this point, just driving away. He's able to be on this Sunday drive. We've seen that so often in the North American Racing League. Usually drivers like Matthew Dench that are able to pull away, and we saw that at Detroit, if you recall, last season. Able to just drive away from the field and chill. Just relax. been a relaxing drive, it looks like, for Alex Persian, working through the final corners for the final time here at the Hockenheimring. There we go, officially, white flag presented by Whiplash Media Simcams. It's the final trip around the final couple of corners. How about that? Here at Hockenheimring, and car 79 is going to go to victory lane at Hockenheim. Congratulations, it's Alex Persian.
Auto race for him, absolutely dominated. As you can see, second place is going to cross the line, 5.4 seconds.
Oh, what a crash! Turcotte and Bobby Flack are around.
Oh no, in the final lap.
Bobby Flack has got a lot of trouble. He is really damaged there on the inside, taking a long time to get back rolling. We'll go back to our speed shot, then we'll let the rest of the field come through. Checkered flag.
As you can see now, the rest of the field making their way through the final corner and the straightaway. This is the first of 8 rounds. I'm pretty sure everybody's happy just to cross the finish line on a racing condition. And, well, Andrew, I'm ready to do it once again. We're kind of used to seeing that on British sim races, but now we're going to see it with Porsches.
We'll let the rest of the field come on through, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at your unofficial race results for your amateur race. And keep in mind, there's 2 races, so all these yellow numbers that you saw, that's because they're amateurs, and we're going to have blue and purple numbers next up in our Pro-Am race. There's going to have Pro and Pro-Am drivers. 2 different classes, just like always. We used to have Pro and Amateur, now we've got Pro and Pro-Am over there. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to this dynamic of this series. It's going to be the same now for GT3 racing on Thursdays. It's just going to be a lot of fun. So, as drivers finish up their races, let's go ahead and start in to save a little bit of time, because we've got a tight window here. Let's start in on results. Alex Persian finishes, well, first, a big race win there for car 79. It's Augustine Castro in second, Brian Zinn third, Aubrey Kundal fourth, Miguel Angel, I'm not sure, we'll find out. Cardozo there in 5th place, Diego Era there in 6th, Ilya Spiker, I'm going with for pronunciation there in 7th, William Coffey 8th, Teague Ashburn 9th, and Max Tankerell wraps up your top 10.
11th place will go the way of Dominic Turcotte ahead of Scott Angelo in 12th place. Jay Shallington in 13th place ahead of Todd Mallock. Joshua Benjamin in 15th place ahead of Brian D. Long. A couple of names were already familiar. Bobby Flack in 17th place after the last lap collision. 18th place will go the way of William Valdez ahead of Thomas Baker. And Shaw Patterson in 20th place is our top 20.
Finishing in the 21st position, you'll find Jeff Castillo, one of the Wahuka racing drivers, along with his teammate Armando Bejaran. Nicholas Sykes finishes 23rd. Stephen Grabowski, 24th. Andrew Rasmussen, 25th. Then you get William Love, John Kroom, Clarence Rosa, Jean Karadek, and Andrija Divac to round out your top 30.
31st place will go the way of Robert Guadagnoli, Daniel Harris in 32nd, Mike Brown in 33rd, Dan Williams in 34th ahead of Zachariah Roser, Billy Bowerman in 36th ahead of Eduardo Lorente, and 38th place will go the way of David Pickram.
38 drivers, 17 laps. 18 laps rather. That was a whole lot of fun. We do have our race winner to speak with quickly here, JP. We will start this with picture in the sim, but we're going to have to quickly go over and get ready for the next session. But here is your race winner, JP, of Alex Persian.
So, Alex, obviously the first time we're talking to you, we saw how excited you were for the season, and what a way to kick it off.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I was quite nervous going into this because it's my first league race in iRacing, at least. So, but yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I bet it was. I mean, how you said you were nervous starting off the race, coming into the race. How did you shake off that nervousness as soon as the green flag dropped?
Yeah, so I think my nerves got the best of me on that launch, and I'm not really sure what happened with the rear wheels, but they lit up a little bit. So I didn't get the greatest launch, and tried to just have a nice, clean, calm first lap behind Brian and Augustin, and then just kind of focus on doing just safe laps. When I was in when I was doing practice sessions, I was testing quality laps, and then just testing calm, safe laps and seeing what my pace was in each. And so I kind of just slipped back to that mode and tried to kind of have calm, consistent laps after that. Unfortunately, Augustin had I think a lockup, and then Brian unfortunately spun in front of me because I think they would have had a lot of pace.
Yeah, but your pace was absolutely excellent as well, even considering the damage that you had on the front left quarter panel. And obviously, I mean, a fantastic start of the season for you. And, well, when you think about Daytona, it's quite a different racetrack to this do you like Daytona? Do you feel confident coming into it after Hockenheim?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I really like the course itself. I've driven GT3 cars there fairly often, and really enjoy kind of just the flow of the track and how much space there is for kind of safe racing. I think obviously turn one is going to be really tricky, especially in these cars with the no ABS, but a lot of practice out of me for that.
Well, absolutely. If today was anything to go by, we're definitely going to keep an eye out for you on the top of the standings. But before I let you go and let you focus on for Daytona, who do you have to thank? Who do you have to shout out?
Oh, definitely Daniel Morad out there with Moradness coaching. He helped me out. I'm sure that he was watching my brake lights, because he definitely gave me a lot of advice on braking and managing the braking going into the corners. So definitely big thanks to him. Also, my team, just Pit Crew Racing, just me and Dave and some other friends from Gran Turismo, and yeah, so it was fun.
Well, absolutely, and it was a pleasure meeting you, Alex. Hopefully we can talk to you plenty more times during the season. And, well, I wish you best of luck for practice for Daytona.
Thanks, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And Andrew, well, that was Alex Persian, first league race on iRacing, and already kicking off with the victory. But, well, obviously we had to talk, and Moradness obviously helping him. So yet another example of a really good guy on the iRacing community, helping a lot of other drivers.
Yeah, Moradness, Daniel Morad, as we've said, such a big effect already, coaching a lot of these drivers, picking up tenths where it matters. It's been huge, and I think it's really helped elevate the racing product, the racing quality, obviously the speed in this North American Racing League. And there are some record numbers in the iRacing averages of this series, this Porsche Cup season and upcoming GT3 season. It's pretty incredible. We are going to take a step aside, a quick intermission here between races. We'll be right back to you in just a few moments with Pro and Pro-Am qualifying from Hockenheimring. This is round number 1 of the North American Racing League Porsche Cup season. Just like that, I promised it'd be short. It happens quick here with the North American Racing League. We've got to be quick to match the cars, right, JP? We've got to be quick to match those guys and their efforts. So here we are, back for our second race on the day, just like that. What was that, 30, 45 seconds? Less than a lap around here at Hockenheimring, the virtual Hockenheimring, brought to you by the iRacing.com sim. It's so fantastic. It really is a sight to behold. And to have this track now on iRacing for so long, I think we really lacked FIA Grade 1 circuits. Now we've almost got a surplus of them. We don't have the full F1 calendar, but we've got quite a bit of them compared to just months ago. It seems like really properly good stuff here by iRacing. But enough of that. We're into qualifying. We'll take a quick 30-second look here at Hockenheimring. JP, we know it. We love it. Turn 1, obviously Nord Curve is pretty difficult to get around. A lot of drivers already concerned about 1Xs. They only get 15 incidents to work with. It's going to be tough. Turn 2, 3, 4, that complex is your first real heavy braking zone before you get to the hairpin after Parabolica. It's a very quick flick through Turn 7, just about flat out, if not flat out, before you get down to Turn 8 in the Mercedes Arena. Mobile 1 turns you back towards Sachs in that kind of banked corner that I like so much. And of course, just a final little flick left-right, or I guess in this case, yeah, it is left-right, actually. Just a quick flick until you get down to the Sud curve, the south corner there, to wrap up the lap. It's very quick here at Hockenheimring. It all happens very quickly, much like our current pole sitter. On top of the speed charts, it is none other than Andre Mikers. We're going to have to learn a lot of these names.
Yeah, I saw that name on the entry list, and I thought, well, that's one of the big names, and well, doing great work already. Obviously, not that big of a gap to second place, but well, on the Pro-Am, around a tenth of a second is already a big gap, as you can see. Andre finishing up, looks like his second or third lap. Did he improve? Looks like not quite this lap. Second place, another driver we're quite familiar with, Andrew Nick Ludicki, or Ludacki, I already forgot, and Victor Miranda, a new driver, 1/10 of a second in third place. Times are really, really closer on the Pro and Pro-Am level.
And I apologize. It looks like it's Andre Melchers. I said Melchers at first. It looked like an I on my smaller screen. It's definitely Melchers there. Nick Ludicki, as you mentioned, second place. Here's a look at Victor Miranda in the number 17. Let's talk about some of your Pro-Am drivers as we start to learn some of these guys and get used to what's going to be a hectic season already. Here's a look at Lawrence. Lawrence Zavadil. I'm going to go with Zavadil, I think. My brain wanted to go with Zavaldi, but Zavadil, I do believe, currently pole sitter in Pro-Am. And you can tell, nice and helpfully, you can tell which drivers are Pro and which drivers are Pro-Am by looking at our ticker. Not only are the double-digit numbers, so 25, 16, 17, double-digit numbers are Pro drivers, but also your triple-digit numbers are Pro-Am, and, of course, they're nicely color-coded. The nice light blue colors, those are your pros, and the purple are your Pro-Am. So it's nicely color-coded, it's number-coded, it's pretty easy to pick it out. Tony Kanaan is sitting ninth in practice, or in qualifying rather, right behind him though. It is the 138, second place in Pro-Am, Kevin Kurachet, it looks like. Kurachet in the number 138. A little further back in class, you'll find Luan Hott in the number 270. I do notice, JP, one of your favorites, Fabio Zamperlini, 13th quick.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I feel very proud when I see some of those Brazilian drivers already in the field. As you can see, unfortunately for Fabio, missing out turn one. We mentioned how difficult it is, and we do have quite a surplus of Brazilian drivers. Unfortunately, Scott Reiser is not one of them. I wish he was, but currently 1.1 seconds away from pole, the number 142, currently sitting just outside the top 10, looks like it. And Andrew, it's a closed field. This is going to be really interesting. Another driver we're kind of used to it, Michael Ruderbusch. Kind of miss seeing him around, but it's really good to see him once again on the field. 1.1 seconds again away from pole in the Pro category, it looks like, for Michael, number 22. And, well, really, really nice to see some of these guys. Samson looks like 1.2 seconds, and look at those times, Andrew. It's just really close amongst the field. And, well, it's just a recipe for great racing on the 30-minute sprint race we have.
And how about David Sampson? Samsoid himself is in this series, entered in the number 6 car. He's 21st so far in qualifying. We've got 38 cars once again so far. That's staggering. If we have 38 and 38, what is that, 76? When it's all said and done, that is a very large portion of drivers to show up for our first race. This is big. A lot of drivers throughout here. Let's look at Scott Kimbrough and the Empire Racing. That's what it was. It wasn't Mike Braun's livery from last season. It was Scott Kimbrough's livery that Clarence Rosa had. So my mistake there, but it is just, I love it. I'm so glad Tim Livery's got this over onto the Porsche. This is fantastic. I don't know how you can't like this car. This is just... yeah, it's fantastic. John Sedlak is out here in the number 203, but it looks like he's going to cut his lap off, as it looks like qualifying just about done. 3, 2, 1, and yeah, qualifying is over here. That is it for these drivers. No more chances to turn a lap. Maybe a few stragglers there, but Andre Melchers will begin this race from pole position. We'll let the timer wear down, finish up, and kick us over onto the grid, and we'll get through as many as we can here. It's definitely quick. Let's go ahead and go through it. Starting on pole. See, it hasn't even fully loaded up. Let's see if we can get it now. Oh, I tell you why. JP?
That was practice, wasn't it?
It was.
There you go. Yeah, it was kind of...
Hang on, I'm gonna... I wanna hold myself to it. Let's review the race day schedule. Yeah, qualifying is supposed to start at 9:30.
Yeah, it was kind of weird just seeing a lot of cars together on qualifying. I was like,
you know what? That's okay. You know what? That is okay. That means we have 10 more minutes to get used to these guys. So all of you guys that were, I think rightfully kind of on your seat, maybe trying to, edge of your seat, trying to see who's going to start on pole. We're right there with you. That was practice finishing up. This is qualifying now. So we're learning. We're learning along with. This is a learning experience for everybody. We're going to learn strategies. We're going to learn a lot about these cars. And here is a look the man himself. We don't have him smiling on the ticker anymore, JP, but I think he's smiling in the car, Tony Kanaan.
Oh, absolutely. It's just really nice to see one of those also big names on the field, the number 48, Tony Kanaan. Obviously, driving for the Brazilian stock car and obviously for IndyCar as well, I'm pretty sure this season. And obviously driving for NRL. Hopefully we can talk to him. Unfortunately, last time out, he was on NRL. His race didn't last too long. I think it was 2 or 3 corners, but hopefully this time around...
So I forget, you missed the Streamer Championship, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so he actually entered in. He wasn't supposed to join. I think he had whatever come up, but he ended up joining anyways, and he wasn't on any of the streamers' teams. So we made a little ticker bug for him that was just his face smiling. So if you missed that, and I know, JP, you're going to have to go back and watch it now. I'm going to have to hold you to it. All of you guys that might have missed the second annual Streamer Championship here at the North American Racing League, go back and watch it, if even just for that. He had a great race. Certainly, I think, a lot to smile about in that race, and unfortunately... well, he lagged out later on. So let's hope, let's go ahead and knock on wood for him now as he spins out of turn 1. Knock on wood for him right now that hopefully his run tonight goes a little bit better. Let's go ahead and look through the rest of the field here. Lawrence Zavadil in the number 124. Matthew Dench out here from Australia in the Frog Leap Juiced number 83. It's good to see familiarity. It's good to see Matthew Dench back out there. And that is a looker.
That is a livery. That's a looker. It looks really, really good. It's a really striking livery. Kind of, the black just kind of blends in, but obviously then you have those bright blues. It looks really good. I really do like it, and hopefully we can see Matthew Dench on the same form he left off last season. Just a really strong driver. Hopefully the bad luck has been washed away on the off season. And, well, we can see him on top of the standings. Obviously, he's going to have really big competition because I just remember Andrew Matchels is part of the Roman Grosjean esports team as well. So quite a few big names on team sports as well. So quite a lot of big challenges for these pro drivers.
Yeah, and it's a lot of names that I think it's going to be difficult for us to learn. A lot of teams, a lot of associations. It's going to take a little while for us to get there. But yeah, I see now R8G Esports. That must be Roman Grosjean. That's pretty cool. That's not one that I expected. I see Vendaval Sim Racing on the list. I see U-Race BR, Muradness, Energy Sim Sport, Fiercely Forward, Pacific Sim Motorsports, Samsoid Kanan, Scuderia Chicken House, of course, with Justin Sang, Hardpoint Esports, of course, Duck Hawk Racing, Frog Leap, you name it. There's a lot of teams here in this series. Lawrence going to go up to pole. That is one of your pro-ams. He's faster than Matthew Dench first lap out. Can you believe that?
Yeah, that's a really good thing to be proud of. 1, 2, 3 tenths faster, and, well, it's really good. Already faster than a lot of pro drivers where we're kind of seeing, you can see Brady Lubenow faster than Mikhail Rudebush as well. So really a strong first lap for Zavadil. And, well, hopefully he can keep up that pace, and quite a long way faster than his closest Pro-Am competitor. That's going to be Jones, as now he gets beaten by Romanulo with a 138.4, just half a tenth faster than him. So lap times are coming, Andrew, and they're going to be dropping. And look at that helmet. That's a smiling helmet, isn't it?
Do you know where that's from?
Is it Modern Family?
No.
It's Modern Family. No, absolutely not.
No, not at all. So I love that he still uses this helmet. Brady does. He and I are both big fans of Futurama, and it's just been announced that Hulu is renewing it and bringing it back for who knows what. I really hope John DiMaggio's back, but we'll save that for another time. Juliano Romagnolo, one of the Muradness stars, easily one of the best drivers on iRacing in one of these Porsche Cup cars, and that goes back to even the previous generation of Porsche Cup car. Yeah, he's going to be quick. Romagnolo is going to be a force to be reckoned with. I'm very impressed at Daniel Morad and his pull to get Juliano Romagnolo onto that team, because I'm going to be honest with you, I knew Juliano's name before I knew Daniel Morad's name, just from Porsche Esports competition. This guy's quick, especially in this Porsche. He is going to be one of the favorites easily in this series, and he's showing that early. Nick Ludicky, let's take a look at his car. Look at that, Vendaval Sim Racing. I did not know that he had signed over there. That's big for Nick Ludicky officially over at Vendaval. That's big. That is a big team name. Very cool to see. And look at that, the team, the times are just flowing in. Fabio Zamperlini into 5th. 6th, you've got Luke Kraus, and a new fastest time because it's Andre now to the top of the board. Nick Ludicky goes 2nd. Juliano Romagnolo relegated to 3rd.
And look at that gap, Andrew. Half a second. Is that his first or second lap? I'm not quite sure if he invalidated his first lap, but That's a big gap, and that's a statement right there for Andre. So a really good strong lap, and look at this, the number 18 going second place. Another nice lap, and also from Vendaval Sim Racing as well, isn't it?
Vendaval is going to have a big voice, I think, in this series. I didn't expect this. This is big to see a lot of Vendaval cars and certainly a lot of Vendaval speed. Spencer Kostovich, I think it's Kostovich, potentially for the number 18 car. Just a little under 3/10 off of pole. We'll see if he can pick that up. Let's drop down further in the field. See some of the guys that are a little further down in the order, like John Sedlak in 31st. We'll see if he can improve that time. Brian DeVries is back out here, now in Pro-Am competition in the 128. Good to see him out there. Of course, Samswood, we talked about him. He's 25th right now. I'm sure he's having a very fun stream. And look at that view. Through Sachs Corner. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's a really good camera angle. And obviously, I have to shout you out, Andrew. I know how much...
Whiplash Simcams. Putting a lot of work in.
Simcams. Yes, absolutely.
Our white flag sponsor, Whiplash Simcams, big stuff, and you can buy these camera packs at Whiplash Simcams. You can go to W Simcams on Twitter. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Whiplash Simcams, W Simcams, or Whiplash Media on Facebook, as a lot of new times are coming in, and Victor Miranda up to the top of the board almost.
Yeah, less than 0.2 of a second between him and the number 25, so a good showing for him as well. Looks like he's going to be parking his car, and that might just be his qualifying attempt done and dusted. The number 18, can he improve that lap time? Looks like it's not going to go this time around, so that's also looks like it's going to be his qualifying wrapped up. Nick Ludicky looks like he's still in 4th place. Romagnolo, can he improve a little bit? Yes, he goes up into 4th place, so he jumps Nick Ludicky by just, 0.006 of a second, so it's a really close gap, and looks like his qualifying is also done. So, Andrew, the gaps are really close when you consider from 4th all the way down into maybe 8th place, less than 0.2 of a second between those drivers.
For as good as I know Romagnolo is, to see him 4th to Victor Miranda, Kostovich, and Melchers, that's big. James Hansen, we're familiar with that name as well. He goes 26th. Joshua Lewis out here, a little bit slow, I think, giving up his lap time. I think most of these guys have their runs in. Here's a look at Nito Nascimento. I like that car. That is good. I like what's going on there for the Devene Esports, number 75. Let's take a look at Bernardo Faria as well. Number 91. Hasn't gotten a time in yet. The real drive Porsche will work through Parabolica, and a new fastest lap out of Nito Nascimento. How about that? Up to 7th.
So a really good lap. Obviously, he's one of the strongest Brazilian drivers we have. And, well, a good showing for him, currently in 7th place. Looks like he's going to be the second if Victor Miranda, it doesn't run my mind, is also Brazilian. And now you can see Faria going his way into the Mercedes arena. As you can see, that small cake. Now the big braking zone. You really have to nail your braking and then get as close as you can to that sausage curb without hitting it. Don't scrub up too much lap time. Swing a car to the left and then to the right, trying to keep as much speed as possible. Hop a little bit over that sausage curb, and now you head into Mobile 1. Flick the car in. This is just absolutely trusting your tires in your car. Don't go too wide as you may invalidate and upset the car. Then Sachs Corner, just as you mentioned, that bank corner feels like carousel on the Nordschleife. And then obviously the flick on the left to the right, and then the final 2 corners as you pass the drag strip on your left hand side. Luckily it's not raining, so it's not a nice hockey playlist. And, well, the final corner, and then, well, that's pretty much a lap. Just really tricky. Can he, he goes with 138. Did he invalidate a lap on the Mobile 1? No, he didn't.
Oh, but he's okay, that's one way to end the lap. 11th there for Bernardo. And I just want to mention, looking over the driver entry list for this series, it's pretty impressive. I've never seen an iRacing driver out of Uruguay. I like to see that for Kevin Cruache. In the number 138, Uruguay. That's cool to see. You've also got, obviously, a lot of Americans, a lot of Canadians, a lot of Brazilians. I also see Malaysia on there, and of course, Australia with Matthew Dench. It looks like we do have a warm-up session. That is greatly appreciated. That is huge, not only for us, but for the drivers as well. One more chance to shake down, and they should get steering box adjustments, so if they need to make any adjustments, any brake bias adjustments, now is your final time to test anything before it counts.
Absolutely, and obviously this final 5 minutes as well, just maybe racing a few with some of your competitors, trying to learn a few secrets or two. As you can see now, James Henson making his way on the back straightaway, the Pacific Sim Motorsport vehicle. That's also a really good livery, isn't it, Andrew? Just kind of a simple tone to it, but it looks really good as well. The colors, the scheme just looks right in the back end. You can see kind of just the red and the blue. I don't know, just something about that simple livery. I absolutely love it.
So I did get confirmation about the setup builder's name here for this series from VRS, and it's been impressive the support they've supplied to this series already. I don't know exactly how to pronounce this, but Pascalis Gajur. I already don't know. I'm gonna go with Gurgis just because that's actually how his Twitter handle is spelled. Pascalis Gurgis, maybe. He's out of Greece. He's Greek. That's what I'm trying to get to. He's Greek. And one of the premier setup builders for Coanda SimSport and VRS. Good to have his own personal touches thrown into these setups. I think more so for the AM series, certainly, where they've kind of safened the cars up a little bit and tried to make them a little more friendly to all variations of driver within that AM series, and all skill levels. That's the biggest thing. All skill levels. I can tell you what, I would need a safe car if I were to go out here and try and race in this series. I would need something pretty safe, almost like a child lock, a baby lock, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I quite like a little bit of a safer car, I guess. Mine is a bit on the, I guess, the middle part, just being too safe and a bit loose. But obviously, it's just personal preferences. There's nothing wrong with having one or the other, and I'm pretty sure these guys also have their preferences. As you can see, Lausenti on the 133 as well. You can see kind of a spooky helmet, as you can see there, Andrew. That's going to frighten a few of the drivers if they do look on the rearview mirror. As you can see, Alessandro Torchio looks like losing a little bit of a backhand on the exit of the hairpin. And that's what warm-up is all about, just getting those mistakes out of the way. As you can see, Brian DeFries coming into the hairpin, looks like on that braking zone. And well, with 1 minute and 50 to go, Andrew, do you think these guys, their heartbeats are racing a little bit, or do you think they're calm and steady, just waiting for the moment?
Definitely a mixed bag of emotions, if you will. Here's a look at Mtaki, and this is the one that I mentioned out of Malaysia. You can see it's just labeled as Asia there, but on the sign-up sheet, labeled as Malaysia. It's cool to see that variety. Obviously, we're used to a lot of Americans and Canadians and British now with British sim racers. To see this variation is really, really cool. To get a Malaysian in the series, to get somebody from Uruguay, like I mentioned, that's so cool to me. I mean, that's one of those, obviously a country I learned about in Spanish class, but now we've got a driver from Uruguay in this series. That's so cool. Curtis Jones, how about that? A Pro-Am, looking pretty quick here. Went purple for a moment from PSM, Pacific Sim Motorsport. And of course, we know a lot of those guys from seasons past with other leagues, but good to see them here in the North American Racing League.
Oh, absolutely. It's just so fun to see some of these familiar faces once again, the new faces as well. Just eager to know them all. And
I'm just sad that Brady doesn't have fossils on his car again. Although there might be something actually on the wingtips. I noticed that.
Yeah, it might be an Easter egg for us to find. I'm pretty sure he's the kind of guy to do that as well.
Or a fossil to dig for.
Yes, absolutely. I'm pretty sure it is as well on the just the side of the rear wing, isn't it?
Yeah, the wingtip has got something going on there. I don't know exactly what it is. Maybe he and Chris Pratt can get together and describe it to us, because, yeah, they seem to like dinosaurs just the same. But it's good to see Brady Lubenow and all these other drivers that we're used to, and mixing in there with a lot of drivers that we're brand new to, like Lowy Santi that we saw a little bit ago, and Reed Gibson, for example, in the 143, and Luan Hott, and just so many new drivers, so many drivers that I'm looking forward to learning.
Yeah, me too. I'm just eager to know them all. As you can see, Aaron Law from Canada with a bright green Porsche. I really do like that color scheme as well. I mean, so many liveries like this, Andrew. I wish I could race them all. Unfortunately, not racing a lot on iRacing these times, but boy, oh boy, fantastic job. I mean, I absolutely love looking at these liveries, and I'm pretty sure we could spend all 30 minutes of the race talking about it.
Absolutely we could. We could go on for days. But now we officially do have the grid. We're expecting 31 laps in this 50-minute race. Let's go ahead and get right down to it. Starting on pole, you have got the number 25 of Andre Melchers as Victor Miranda starting second. Starting third, Spencer Kosovich in the number 18. Juliano Romagnolo will begin this race from the fourth spot. Starting fifth, it's Nick Ludicky in the number 16. Sixth will go to Luke Kraus. Starting seventh, you've got Nito Nascimento. Eighth, Matthew Dench. Starting ninth, it's Fabio Zamperlini. And starting 10th, it's your Pro-Am pole sitter, Lawrence Zavadil. We will go through as many cars as we can here.
11th place will go the way of Bernardo Faria and Nicholas Mitchell on 12th place. 13th place will go the way of Brady Lubino, his number 11, and Paulo Godoy in the number 4. In 14th place, the number 933. 15th place will go the way of Tony Kanaan in his 48 car, and Curtis John on his outside in 16th place. 17th place will go the way of Scott Kimbrough in the 117 and the 270 of Lewin Hott in 18th place. And it looks like that's going to be all, Andrew, because red lights are on and drivers are revving their engines.
Here we go. Green flag on the way for our first Pro-Am race. Green lights are out, and we're racing for 50 minutes at the Hockenheimring. Oh, already a big crash.
Oh, no.
A Maradna's car turned around, and one car turned over. Oh, it's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big crash early on already on the
Tony
start
Kanaan
line.
is in trouble already as well. Oh, my goodness. Tony Kanaan cannot escape these starts in points-paying races, it seems like. His car is destroyed. Let's go back up to the front. Let's watch everybody else sort through these corners for the first time.
As you can see, everybody battling. As you can see, it looks like Andrea already lost the lead, but eager to get it back. As you can see, a few drivers already made a moves. You can see going side by side into the back straightaway. Who's going to come out on top on the braking zone? As you can see, a few drivers going defensive, trying to defend Andrea, nearly getting to the back of, looks like that's Miranda. And, well, everybody makes it safely, looks like, through the hairpin. No, one car spinning around, and that's
Justin Sang.
Yeah, but the rest of the field makes it safely through.
That's Justin Sang with the spin. Victor Miranda, your leader. Andre Melcher's second. Oh, there's a challenge there.
Oh.
Ludicky gets into Romagnolo.
Oh, no. So, two extra drivers having trouble. Looks like Romagnolo just spun around, not too much damage. Definitely going to hurt his race, though.
That was a big lunge from Ludicky. And that will be one that gets looked back at, certainly. Rather unfortunately. That's one that makes you wonder if maybe Nick Ludicky's race is going to be all for naught, because that's, unfortunately, lap one, when you have that kind of incident, that's probably going to get processed.
Yeah, definitely the steward is going to have to take a look at that. But with that, Andrew, the first lap, the first of 17, 18 laps is completed. And as you can see, even more battles. You can see Romagnolo looks like trying to make his way back on the final corner, just made a position. Right now, you can see now officially the ticker. And, well, that's the first lap done.
24th for Romagnolo after one lap. Already a pit stop, it looks like, for Torchio, Alessandro Torchio, into the pit lane here. Gotta wonder what the problem was there. The Italian, look at that, an Italian in the series as well. Good to see there for the Juncos Esports, number 173. Not good to see him in the pit lane, but good to see him out here. Let's go back up front and check out the rest of the field as Victor Miranda is leading on lap number 2. The 17 looking good already.
Looking good, soaking in all that pressure from the number 25 right behind him. This is going to be an interesting battle to take a look throughout the race to see how these two evolve, because look at the gap that they already have to Nick Ludicky in third place. It will be interesting to see if Andre, as soon as he gets past, obviously Miranda, if he can drive away. As you can see, both teammates, right, Andrew, battling, just stuck in third and fourth place.
Fuel saving already. I heard it there. I will shut up, listen, and watch the telemetry. Into corner entry here. I don't know if it'll be for the quick bend, but you'll see it in a second. Didn't hear it there, but I heard it into Mercedes. We'll see if we hear it here into Sachs. No, but if you've got a keen ear out there, you would have already heard the clutch go in for Kostovich. I'm very surprised that we're saving fuel in this race this early, but hey, lap 2, you got to get after it.
Absolutely. Since we don't have pit stops on the sprint, we might have. It's a longer race, Andrew. So if they're saving fuel,
I think
absolutely.
we will.
So if they're saving fuel already, this is going to be an interesting challenge. And, well, we saw plenty of different strategies like that. So this could explain why Andre is kind of holding back. If he can save.
Good save out of Nick. Watch the RPMs here. Watch the RPMs.
There you go. Let's see. The 8,000 dropping a little bit. Yeah, not too much.
I guess we'll just have to wait for him to get back around to the same corner and see if anything changed. It may have also just been a slip of his foot over onto the clutch. Who knows? But clutch definitely went into Mercedes, and we'll see how this race goes for him. Pro-Am leader now. Just a few laps in. Godoy, I think. Paulo Godoy there on the 993 for Real Drive. Good to see a Pro-Am driver doing so well already off the start of this race. He did get by Lawrence Zavadil for the lead, who now is just 2 spots back and just behind Matthew Dench there. I'm going to struggle with Lawrence's last name, I think, the entire series. I really am.
No, absolutely. Me too. Obviously, a few of these names are out of our reach, Andrew. Obviously, I can mention the Brazilian names are quite familiar to me, but some of these names, unfortunately, we're going to struggle. But I'm pretty sure they're going to take it on the sporty way. They're going to take it on a fun way. But yeah, Matthew Dench, as you mentioned, on kind of a Pro-Am sandwich right now. Hopefully he can get past Godoy just ahead of him and hopefully challenge for the top 5, maybe even further ahead. But, well, it's just going to be just the first few laps of the race. Still plenty of racing to go, and the Pro-Ams are looking really, really strong early on in the race.
This is a fun view. Looking at them exit Sachs and work towards Sud Curve. A lot of fun to just watch cars snake around here at the Hockenheimring. Victor Miranda continues to lead. 3 laps now in the books of 31, and he goes even faster. Kostovic now quicker.
Kostovic looks like they're trying to close in the gap to the top 2. Still 1.3 seconds, Kostovic behind Andre, so still maybe just a tiny little bit away from that slipstream range, trying to close in. And as soon as they get into that slipstream range, Andrew, I'm pretty sure they're going to be well into the lead battle, but currently it's all down to the number 17 and the number 25.
Let's take a look further deep in the field. This is 28th and 29th, Reed Gibson and Justin Sang, who had that spin in the hairpin on lap 1. He is regrouping. He's in 29th ahead of Nick Peterson and chasing Reed Gibson. They're both chasing Paul Richabanet, if they can get there. Richabanet? I'm not sure. John Sedlak is 26th. Tony Kanaan, though, this is the driver I want to take a look at for obvious reasons. In 31st after that lap 1 melee, trying to work his way through the field. And obviously, it's Tony Kanaan. We want to watch Tony Kanaan and see how he does in this race. But also, I want to see how a pro racing driver specifically gets through this field and if he's able to drive back through and find success trying to go against these virtual guys.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, real experience is really going to pay off for him. And Andrew, I might just mention, I'm pretty sure Tony Kanaan is going to suffer from the JP curse because each and every single time he's on the race, he doesn't really get far from lap 1. So I'm really sorry, Tony, for watching this later on. But yeah, hopefully hopefully this curse can go away pretty soon. As you can see, he's approaching. Looks like he's going to be, down into Mercedes. Not quite, being a little bit cautious, maybe just approaching it on the apex. But yeah, not quite deep enough, not quite brave enough under braking. Maybe a little bit of damage holding him back.
We'll revisit that later on in the race for the full-time esports number 48 car. But yeah, more than just being fans of Tony, I really want to see how he works through this field and what success he's able to find over the course of the day. Victor Miranda still leading. Another lap in the books. They're already exiting turn number 4 and onto Parabolica here.
Just really strong pace from these two, isn't it?
Yeah, this is really good stuff up front. They've left the Vendaval guys of Spencer Kostovic and Nick Ludicky by a second and a half already. So the pace is certainly there for Miranda and Melchers, and I think it's going to continue to be there the rest of this race. I don't know that you can just reverse that. Obviously, they can tear these tires up. They can overheat these tires and find some trouble later, but it's going to take a lot. Here we go. Here's some racing further back in the field. Spencer Marsh, Juan Hot, and Kevin Curache, our resident Uruguayan. Is that correct? I don't know. It doesn't sound right, but our resident Uruguay driver.
Yeah, it looks like, unfortunately, he lost a move. Oh, looks like he's going to take it back. Maybe going a little bit too wide under braking, getting into the curb, losing a little bit of time, and unfortunately giving up that spot that he lost on the hairpin. Tried to take it back into Mercedes, but unfortunately couldn't. And as you mentioned, Uruguay driver, a close driver, you can say, for me as well. So it's really nice to see him on the race, and really nice to see Uruguay being represented as well in the NARL. And hopefully he can make a few extra spots on this race. Hopefully he can give himself back a few extra positions because, well, it's just really nice to see drivers from different countries, isn't it, Andrew?
It really is. I think when we brought in BSR, and that's what it really kind of hit home to me, is we've got a league full of British guys that we cover, and we're making that international connection, and it rings true as well in North American Racing League, and that's what I like about it. It's North American Racing League, sure, but we've got so many South American drivers from Brazil, Uruguay now, and the likes around, and we've got a German in here. I'm surprised that a German is racing this time of night, to be honest, but hey, more power to Andre out there. And we've got drivers from all reaches of this world at this point. We've got a driver out of Malaysia even. I know Scott Reister just got back from Thailand, so yeah, there's some reach here with the North American Racing League. It's really cool to see this international reach. Look at Giuliano. Sorry, I said Giuliano Romagnolo. If I said Giuliano a lot, I believe it's Giuliano Romagnolo, as he works in the 21st position. There's a battle further back. Aaron Law and James Hansen into the hairpin here. Hansen on the inside, a little bit of contact, but he gets the nope, never mind.
Oh, no.
That's not how you want that to go. Going to try and back up, rejoin the field. Where does he get back into? Car 904 going to drop to 26th. It looks like before he's able to slot back in behind one of the Duckhawk racing machines of Lowy Santi. The car that Giuliano is following, though, is Blake Scott. And we have not mentioned the Scotts at all yet, but Blake Scott and Mark Scott both opting to run in Pro-Am. For so long, we've known them as a Pro driver and an Am driver. Now they're both in Pro-Am, so the father-son competition is here. Oh, my goodness!
Oh.
Giuliano Romagnolo. Yeah, that was a mistake. Oh, and
Yeah,
I
that
think
was a mistake.
I think he's a little frustrated.
Yeah, maybe just unfortunately for him, I guess just frustrating. Yes, frustrating is the right word. Unfortunately, that's going to be race over for him. Quite a lot of potential. Unfortunately, lost a little bit, and well, looks like the top two lost quite a bit of time because Kostowicz and Ludicky both have closed in, and obviously they're bringing in Kraus as well in fifth place. So we're gonna have a 5-car battle for first place soon, Andrew, and looks like Andres might just have something to do with it. Might just want to get past and maybe just drive away. Looks like not on this opportunity, but wow, the gap really came down quite a bit, so I'm not pretty sure if it was battling, maybe a mistake, but well, now it's gonna get even more interesting.
Interesting is only the tip of the iceberg here, JP. Truly, only the tip of the iceberg as far as how this race is going to go. A big shout out to Emerson Arden holding things down on social media. We've got a lot going on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, as we mentioned earlier. We invite you to join in on the conversation using hashtag PitStopTV and hashtag NARL. Emerson holding the fort down over there. A fantastic job already as we work lap 7 of 31 here in our Pro-Am race, on board with race leader Victor Miranda. And this group is 5 cars strong. It goes back to a very quiet driver in 5th place we've not talked much about, Luke Kraus, out of Canada. Looking pretty solid so far. One of the other pro drivers, the top 8 are all pro drivers, but Luke Kraus racing for Fiercely Forward. That's not one of the big names, right? That's not Victor Miranda with Energy Sim Sport. It's not Andre Melchers with Roman Grosjean Esports. That's not Spencer Kostovich or Nick Ludicky with Vendaval. This is a different team name. I've never heard of Fiercely Forward, but I like what he's doing so far.
I've heard this name before. I can't really put it in where I've heard it, but well, it's really nice to see that team being represented by the number 34. Obviously doing a fantastic race, as you mentioned. 5th place on a grid this strong is definitely something to take back home because he's doing a fantastic job. And well, we might see him move up a few extra spots as he can get closer and closer to the top 4. And well, with 37 minutes to go, and there's still plenty of racing to go, and well, a lot can still change, but so far it's a fantastic race for him.
Joining in with this group here, I think, is certainly rarefied air. To be up here with Victor Miranda already in this race, and Andre Melchers, and of course the 2 Vendaval cars that are following. And to see Nick Ludicky back in a series on PitStopTV is good, and to see him succeeding right now, but also having a challenge is good. If you recall back to the Pacific Sim Racing Porsche Cup season that we had, yeah, it was all Nick Ludicky. He's certainly got a knack for these cars, but to see him with this challenge is big. He certainly is a step above some of those guys, and no disrespect meant. It's just a matter of how good Nick Ludicky is in these cars. To see him challenged, to see him have to fight for this is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, bringing in new challenge for him, new names, different teams. Obviously, it's a brand new challenge, and obviously, you know, as you mentioned, on Pacific Sim Motorsport, he was the name. And right now, he's one of the names. 4th place, still very strong, and, well, still plenty of race to happen. And he might just be saving fuel, Andrew. He might just be saving his equipment for later on in the race. So, we might see plenty more of the number 16 throughout the race.
Let's take a look further back in the top 10. Another driver we want to highlight. We talked about him in practice and qualifying, Brady Lubenow in 10th, and he is all over our Pro-Am leader. Now, Lubenow's a pro driver. He's in that pro category. You can see the blue number plate there on your screen. But to see him in the top 10 is big, and this is clearly a really, really tough group of drivers. iRating doesn't mean everything. These guys are grouped by iRating, sure, that's how we form the classes, but Paulo Godoy? Teach me here. Paulo Godoy?
Yes, Paulo Godoy.
Godoy, got you. So Paulo Godoy clearly is a good race car driver here on the iRacing.com sim, and maybe Hockenheimring is just his thing. But he's clearly pretty quick, and he's got a lower I rating than Brady and several other of the other, well, all of the other pro drivers and several Pro-Am drivers, but he's clearly pretty quick. So this proves that I rating kind of keys you in close, but it doesn't get you the whole way. It doesn't tell you everything about a race car driver, and certainly shouldn't classify everything about a race car driver.
Oh, absolutely not. iRacing, obviously, at the end of the day, is just a number. Obviously, we all want that to be over 10,000, but realistically, it's really, really difficult. But yeah, sometimes you just have bad weeks and your rating is going to drop a whole lot, but you can still fight with some of those big guys. So it's just, at the end of the day, Andrew, it's just a number, isn't it? It's not really going to tell the whole story, just your on-race pace, the car, the track you choose to race. That's really what matters, just racing, what you feel comfortable with, what you feel fast in, and what makes you happy as well. So as long as, well, he's happy and smiling, pretty sure he is in 9th place leading his class, that's all that matters.
Something we've not talked about just yet in this race, be it the amateur race or the pro race. Look at the weather. Nice and cool. I know the track is probably going to feel slippery to these guys. It's probably going to feel warmed up, but the average track temp, at least, that iRacing pulls from the sim is 68 degrees. That's not too bad, and that's Fahrenheit. So that's under 20 Celsius. This is pretty cool air. It is early in the day. Luke Krause had a look on Nick Ludicky, and that's going to bring the front of the field together. Now a string of 7 cars. There was some contact there between Krause and Ludicky.
Yeah, the battle for the lead, the battle for the overall lead at the top 7 is really, really close. As you can see, Merchels again trying to close in that gap. Miranda just not giving in an inch of feeling pressure, just keeping the car on the road, which is absolutely insane to think. And now, as you can see, closer than ever, even in the top 10, just 5 seconds separating them all from 1st to 10th. Really, really close. And Andrew, we might see some moves happening, early than later, because, Krause, as you mentioned, closing in on Nick Ludicky, and he's closing in on his teammate as well. Things might get spicy.
A big shout out to all of our partners here with the North American Racing League, of course, Virtual Racing School, VRS, Moradness, and Daniel Morad, and all of his coaching as we have a pit stop. Kostovich is in.
Oh, this is early, less than 20 minutes of racing, so is this strategy cannot be penalties this early on, could it?
I doubt it. He's been pretty clean so far. He was already saving fuel, so he was clearly thinking about a fuel number. So if he's cleared his fuel number, then go ahead and come in and just fill it up. And this is less, how do I put this? It's less likely that you overfill the car if you come in early. Right? You can only fill it up so much because there is a fuel limit in this series. So you can only go to a certain limit. So if you get to where you are good, you're not going to feel like you have to overfill for safety. And you can see 26 seconds flat in the lane. That's 10.22 seconds in the pit box. So keep that number in mind. 26 in pit lane, 10.22 seconds in the pit box. As we see more pit stops, we're going to have to revisit that number a little bit. A battle further ahead, Spencer Marsh on the inside in a Pacific Sim Motorsport car, going on by Luen in the 270.
Yeah, looks like that move was done into the hairpin and might just be settled, but maybe into Mercedes we might see the driver trying to take that position back. No, not quite. So this is the part of the racetrack where it's kind of really difficult to get past. You only really do it if the mistake happens in front of you, but you really need to keep it close. As you can see, Luan from Brazil trying to get the position back kind of bit, just 1/2 tenths away, maybe into Sachs corner. As you can see, Mobile 1 now really difficult, really easy to cut and extend on the gravel. Yeah, not close enough to make a move, but definitely will try to get the position back.
No more pit stops from the front of the field. Nito Nascimento now will take over the 5th position. We talked a little bit about Nito right at the end of qualifying, going up to the top of the board. He did not get many laps in, so to see Nascimento go that high with very few laps in comparison. I think one less lap in comparison to the rest of these guys. That is tire temperature that you're losing. So to lose that tire temperature and still go quick, that's pretty big.
Yeah, absolutely. As I mentioned, he's one of the big names in Brazilian sim motorsport, actually. So it's really good to see him that far up the road. Obviously, haven't had the opportunity to talk to him personally, but I know he's one of the strongest guys. So seeing him in 5th place and approaching the front group is really nice to see. Obviously, being Brazilian as well, just nice to see as well. And obviously, Andrew, you mentioned something on the pit lane. You don't overfill, but obviously the drawback of pitting this early is you're gonna have a heavier car throughout the race, and if you come out on traffic, that could really hurt your strategy.
I'm glad I wasn't talking there. You heard the clutch as Ludicky lunges again. It's the same thing that happened between he and Romagnolo there on lap 1. He's got to be careful. Ludicky's a great driver, but just after that contact, right, you gotta wince a little bit when you see that, as now Luke Krause might take a shot here into Sachs corner. You never know. But the Vendaval driver giving himself up a little bit. This could be interesting, actually, to Sachs. Does Ludicky maybe pit here? A little bit compromised now, gave a couple of tenths up. Does he maybe go ahead and think about pitting? His teammates already been in. Go ahead and get it out of the way as we hit 20 minutes to go.
Obviously, with
20 minutes run, 30 minutes to go, my bad.
Yeah, looks like not quite. Obviously, with his teammate pitting, he's going to have a perfect insight on how the car is behaving on heavier fuel, how the track, so where they might come out similarly to one another. We have, looks like, another car coming into the pit lane. So already a few of drivers electing to pick quite early on. This is going to be Bernardo Faria, also from Brazil, the number 91. So now the question is, Andrew, how long will he stay stationary? It was 10.2 and 10.4, and so it was 26-second flat, wasn't it? So this should be just a little, 26.2. So exactly 0.2 of a second slower. So yeah, that's the time we're kind of looking forward to for some of these drivers. But as you can see, just the gap, Kostowicz is just a little bit up the road. Faria,
oh, that was aggressive.
Yeah, he's going to be losing on the exit, though.
That was really aggressive, and that's why you got to be careful about that kind of thing. Into a heavy braking zone, leading into a heavy throttle zone. You got to be very, very careful about that. Kostowicz is up the road a little ways. You can see the difference there. As oh, that was actually, so Bernardo did that to John Sedlak there of JS Consulting. That's interesting then. And Sedlak now doing some battle here into the hairpin, back to the inside of Faria, and we'll try and take that spot away. And they will stay side by side.
Yeah, they'll drag race through the kink into the Mercedes arena. As you can see, side by side, nearly pushing each other wide, but looks like Bernardo might just have that position for the time being. And yes, he does now kind of just closes the door beautifully there and kind of retains that position, at least for the time being. Looks like Sadlak's not going to have too much to answer, at least on Mobile 1, or will he? No, not quite, just filling up his mirrors.
He certainly thought about it. He had a look at the very least. Here's on board with Bernardo now. 20th position after the pit stop, and only 2 drivers, it seems, have made their one pit stop of their race, their actual strategical pit stop. But obviously, some other drivers have had to pit for damage, but only Bernardo and Spencer. And you know what? Let's go ahead and add to the list. We've got Luan Hot in the pit lane.
So there you go. Now the number 270, probably looking for another 10.2, 10.4 second pit stop. We could see some underfueling as well, Andrew. Oh, he's going to be a little longer, so a second longer, so 11.4. So unfortunately for him, losing a little bit of time there on the pit lane, but could pay off. Now Victor Miranda looks like he's falling under pressure again from Andre Melcher. So this battle is definitely not over, and it's going to be interesting to see when it comes down into the pit lane, who's going to come out on top when it's all said and done.
I like what I'm seeing out of Victor Miranda here. Standing tough to all the pressure, and if I recall, I do believe Victor Miranda's first experience with North American Racing League was back at Cash Days at Long Beach. If memory serves me correct, he was in, I want to say, one of the Manatee cars, or the Manatee car, and it might not have been actually, but I know he was in that race, and I know he was one of the best drivers in that race. So to see him succeeding here is really no surprise.
Absolutely not. The pace that he has been showing, the fact that he can soak up all this pressure, we haven't seen a lockup for him or a mistake, so it just shows the quality of driver. I know if I was in his position, Andrew, well, my car might not have been pointing at the right direction all this time, but...
Are you kidding me? I wouldn't have made it to lap 15 like they all have.
Yeah, it's just crazy to see how these drivers can soak up so much pressure and just keep the car pointing, just keep the lap times consistent. It's just crazy to think, and while they're doing a fantastic job, even with the number 25, as you can see just how close they get under braking zone, there might have been a bit of fuel saving as well from the number 17, allowing everybody to come really close.
Yeah, it's absolutely a possibility here. Andre's going to have a look, I think, for the hairpin, or is he? Yes, he's going to have a look.
Oh.
Victor's going to cover that up, a block down to the far inside of the corner. Wow, that was close. Andre now around the outside of the hairpin. Here we go. This is for the race lead. Andre gets compromised. Ludicky had a look, and they all get back in line just like that.
Yeah, just like that. And you can see the battle for the lead, definitely not over the number 25. Maybe just holding. Looks like not going to be approaching a move into the Mercedes arena. I say that they go side by side. The number 25 trying to sneak it on the outside. Cannot really go. And, well, Victor Miranda just closes in the door. And obviously, Andrew, I'm pretty sure Andre Melchers is the guy that's friends with Max Verstappen as well. They race quite a bit together, so I'm pretty sure he has a few extra tricks up his sleeve that was taught by the reigning Formula 1 world champion.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the fact that Andre is German and we're at the Hockenheimring. I mean, this is absolutely home turf for him. If you recall, Matthew Dench was such a big story at Phillip Island last season in GT3 competition because obviously he's Australian and it was Phillip Island in Australia. So this is a home race for Andre. He's not going to back down whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely not. And obviously, if Victor Miranda comes out on top at the end of this race or any other driver, they're going to have that advantage of taking away the win from a German driver on a German car, on a German track. So yeah. It's a full-on plate for Andre to try and get that nice little crown for him just to add to his collection.
Spencer Kostovich is getting caught up in some competition here, racing with Blake Scott. And now Blake Scott, it looks like he's in the pit lane, but they definitely were going after it for a moment at the very least, and we'll see how this pit stop goes here for Blake.
Yeah, we're just going to have to keep an eye out for the timing. As again, the fastest one we had standing was a 10.2 still, so still someone yet to beat. Obviously, we don't have a few of those Brazilian drivers, Andrew, that kind of like to underfill quite a bit of the car, and it looks like Blake is going to have a 10, 11, 12.5 second stop, so quite conservative, maybe taking a little bit extra fuel to just push till the end of the race, and looks like he's going to be rejoining just outside the top 20, looks like.
Yeah, he rejoins. Let's see, Blake is now 25th position, so some other cars pitting there. We'll go back up to the front, though. This is going to be big.
Yeah, look at that train of cars, Andrew. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. 4 really close, 2 kind of just a few tenths of a second away. And this is just going to keep going at it. It's just incredible how much pressure these guys can soak. And I do wonder, could Victor Miranda just back away Andre just a little bit into Nick Ludicky to see if Nick could maybe mount a challenge for him? That could definitely be a strategy, but it's definitely very risky.
We've seen that nearly work, whether it's intentional or not. We've seen it nearly work already in this race, where they got stacked up and started to race, and Andre was almost compromised out of the hairpin, if you recall, a few laps ago, and Ludicky certainly had a look. Kraus had a look at Ludicky, so yeah, I think these guys can certainly get racing like that. I think that's pretty well within the realm of imagination.
Absolutely. Obviously, with that comes risk. Obviously, if you just back away and you make a small mistake, you're going to be losing the position, so it's kind of difficult to be in that position, and well, you're just gonna have to see what the strategy is gonna be for the number 17 too, because shaking away the number 25, the number 16, the number 34, and the number 75 definitely doesn't seem to be working, because it's so similar on pace and just so difficult, especially with such a big straightaway. As you can see, yet another car down into the pit lane. That's Scott Reiser, 11.2 second stop. That's definitely faster than Blake Scott.
No. That is... oh, well, yeah, sorry. To Blake Scott, yes. I thought for a second my brain went right back to Spencer Kostovich. Kostovich is our control, it seems, in this nice little experiment here at Hockenheimring. Still 10.22 for that pit lane. That's a quick pit stop. And, oh, that car lurched on that shift. And he's now chasing Samsoid of all people. Samsoid is a great driver. And the fact that David Sampson is sorted into 15th position right now, I think that's a testament to the quality of driver in this series, certainly. The average I rating among both classes here today is 4,010.
Yeah, that's a little bit high.
My I rating, for reference, is about 1,400, 1,500. Yeah.
Yeah, my I rating currently, when I stopped driving, was around 2,700. My peak was 4,200, but yeah, unfortunately, JP unfortunately hung up his boots for the time being. Cannot really go back to that old form. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, Andrew, if I was in this field, you'd probably see me around in the 20th, 15th spot, I dare say.
I think Fabio Zamperlini just went wide at turn 1. The car is still intact, and here we go. A pit stop out of Samson, it looks like. Yes. A pit stop for David Sampson. Of course, one of our beloved streamers here at the North American Racing League. Going to come in, get pit service. And where is he going to sort out? As we've got a pass with a race lead. Here we go.
Yes. Victor had the inside line into the hairpin. He's going to have the inside line for the King, but the outside line for Mercedes. This is just a drag race between those two. As you can see, the gap coming down. Looks like Andrea got a better run. They're going to go side by side. Victor forcing Andrea wide. Andrea's going to have the inside line for Mercedes. Victor's going to try to get that cutback line, but looks like not going to be close enough. So the number 25 finally takes the lead after nearly half an hour of racing. Now the question is, can he drive away? Can the number 17 stick with him? Wow, now a lot of stories are going to come in, Andrew, and I'm pretty sure the pit window is closing in a lot, so I'm excited for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, our first pit stop was about 13 minutes ago. That means we've got about 3 more minutes before I think the pit window closes up. So we're going to see pit stops either this lap or the next lap, I think. Maybe the lap after if drivers get real ballsy. As you can see, our leaders all stay out. I don't see anybody in the top 5 pitting in this lap. This is incredible.
Oh, Kraus.
You're right. It looks like Kraus is coming in. You're right.
Just caught that from the, well, just the yellow car on the corner of my eye. He's going to come in, stop. Probably avoiding a bit of fighting between the guys in front, trying to come out and clear air. We're just going to have to see how long his pit stop is. And obviously, with all this happening, Andrew, we're going to have to keep an eye out from those guys that stopped really early on. You can see 11, 12. Oh, wow. That's a long stop. 12.9. That could hurt him.
He's going to sort out well behind Spencer Kostovich. And we've not seen much of Spencer since his pit stop, but now we're going to see him come back. And what I like is he's in a rhythm, right? These guys have to get back into a rhythm with 20 minutes to go in the back 40% of this race. Spencer doesn't need to. He's already in rhythm. He's staying in rhythm. He gets to race for a half hour with no interruptions. He's going to sort right back out into this field. I like that strategy call for Vendaval Sim Racing's Spencer Kostovich. We'll see if it pays off.
Yeah, absolutely. As you can see, Victor Miranda now half a second away from Andrew Merchels. Looks like the number 25 has the pace as he did on qualifying. As you can see, Victor going a little bit wider into turn number 6. As you can see now, Mobile 1. And, well, that could be the move for the victory of the race, Andrew. Looks like the number 25 is just on qualifying pace, on rails, absolutely, and just driving away slowly but surely. Nick Ludicky losing a little bit of a gap. As you can see now, Neto Nascimento and maybe Matthew Dench coming into battle. Yes?
Yeah, those guys are going to start to go after it. You see our race leader's going to stay out. Here comes Matt Dench, though.
Oh, Matthew. So there we go. So kind of undercutting. Probably we could see a little bit less fuel coming into his tank of gas, which is really going to be interesting. So now, Andrew, it's just going to be, well, who puts less fuel in, who maximizes their pit entry and pit exit. And, well, for a stopped car, I'm going to be really, really excited to see that timing, those numbers come in. And you can see 5, 6, 7. Could it be less than 11 seconds? It has to be competitive. 10.15. That's the fastest one we've had.
That is just barely faster than Kostovich, but Kostovich will pass him. Zavadil's also in the pit lane. We'll see what his pit time comes out to. And it's going to be a bit slow. 12 seconds almost. The pit lane time is going to be a bit long as well. 27.68. It's not that bad, all things considered, but it is still long, as John Sedlak is also in.
And John Sedlak, we're going to see 13.2, so a bit slower pit stop as well. Maybe taking a little bit extra fuel. So unfortunately, might lose a few spots, 1 or 2, just due to that slower pit lane. You can see extra cars, a lot of cars coming into the pit lane this lap.
Yep, this is the mark. I think that previous lap and now this lap that we're coming up to complete. Andre Melchers, Victor Miranda, they're going to have to come in this time, I think. This is definitely the point where they've got to come in. We're hitting now, 33 minutes in, and the lockup! He runs deep. Andre gives up that little bit of time, and depending on how the pit stop goes, that could be the difference between sorting out in first and sorting out in second. Do either one of them pit? No. They're going to go at least one more lap. Victor Miranda, he does peel off.
No,
Miranda
Victor,
is in.
And Nick Ludicky as well.
This is big. So, dominoes are falling.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really big to see who's going to come out on top. Maybe Victor saw that mistake and thought, this is the lap to pit just to avoid any battling and all that sort of stuff. So now he comes in, stops the car, as you can see. Now, what is that time going to be? As you can see, Nick Ludicky just behind him as well. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.6. So 0.4 of a second slower than Kostowicz.
Kostowicz is going to pass him.
Will he? They're going to go side by side into turn 2.
He's going to have him into the braking zone here. Oh, it's going to be side by side. Turn 2. This might be your battle for the race win. We don't know just yet. Side by side, they're going to slow each other down. This is only going to help Andre out front.
Absolutely. I was just going to mention that if they go side by side in the braking zone, they're going to be losing that precious racing line. And, well, this driver right here is going to be thanking them for that. Obviously, he might just have a spotter telling him that. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Looks like Victor Miranda comes out on top at the end. So this is the lap that the number 25 will have to come in. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. 2 drivers have stayed out. Andre Melchers, your pro race leader, your overall race leader, and your pro-am race leader, currently, at least, Paulo Godoy. I think he was still in the lead even before the pits. So this is big for Paulo, and you know what? I can't disagree with you, Bruno. This is looking pretty good for Andre, but he's still got to execute. He's not out of this just yet. He has got to be perfect in the pit lane. He could still slip up. That's wide into the grass. That's what I'm talking about. You've got to be so careful. Onto the pit limiter. Does he get down to speed? I think so. You still got to execute here. You still got to be perfect. He's not out of the woods just yet.
And you can see the strategy is to just eke out even a few tenths of a second on the pit lane, not using the pit limiter just to eke out just a few kilometers an hour. Now we're going to see the time that he stopped. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9... 10.15, so that's significantly quicker than Victor Miranda, and well, he definitely will have that gap. 2.5, well over 2 seconds on the exit.
That's going to slim up, though. They're faster right now. They're carrying momentum into turn 2. That's going to close up, but not enough. He's got a big lead, and it's going to take a lot. It is going to take a lot to catch up. Obviously, no tires taken in this race. 50 minutes is doable on these tires. It would only slow you down to the pit lane and trying to heat them back up, but the gap is just about 2 seconds for Andre Melchers out front. This is certainly looking good for the 25 car. Ludicky, he sorts into 4th place behind Miranda and Kostowicz. So reverse the top 2, and this is what we had earlier on.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we're going to be taking the closest battle. Looks like on the top 5 is going to be this one. Kraus and Matthew Dench as well, battling for the 5th position. As you can see, Kraus just a little bit far away from Nick Ludicky to maybe get that slipstream. As you can see, Faria as well closing in on them. So this could be an interesting battle to keep an eye out for the final 13 minutes, Andrew.
So JP, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I know, obviously you're Brazilian, so you're very fluent in Portuguese. You're serviceable with Spanish. Serviceable, I would say. Do you know German?
9.
Yeah, me either. Might have been... Yeah, that's unexpected. It's looking pretty good for Andre right now. I don't know how you can argue against him with 13 minutes to go and a 1.9 second lead and potentially growing. He's been so good this race. Fastest in practice, right? Fastest in qualifying, I believe. He's been the guy to beat. It's a German car. Well, a German driver in a German car on a German track. It all just fits.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just on a home territory. The gap is fluctuating between 1.7 1.8, but at this time he might just be not cruising around, but just controlling the race pace, pushing when he has to. And, well, I mean, it's just going to be hard to dethrone him. At least on Hockenheim, we're going to have to see on Daytona on the next few rounds to see how it's going to fare out. But, well, the good news, Andrew, is I've watched some of his streams, and, well, luckily for us, he speaks English, so we're going to have a good time on the interview.
There you go. That's good to know. That is very good to know. It might be a battle for second place still. Victor Miranda and Spencer Kostowicz. I don't think this is over.
No, definitely not over. Obviously, the only question is, with that slower stop that Kostowicz had, the faster stop, actually, the slower pit box time, could he have underfueled the car a little bit and maybe has to save a little bit, not able to close up too much to Miranda? I doubt it. I'm pretty sure it was well calculated, but it's still definitely a possibility. Miranda has more fuel in the car, so he's allowed to push a little bit more of that engine and that car overall on the straightaways, braking zones, all that sort of stuff.
You know, I don't have answers for you, unfortunately. I'm not an oracle, and This is where we're often, we can't do a whole lot. The front of the field is a bit spread out, so there goes our play-by-play, and we just don't know what's going to happen. It's up to the drivers and managing tires and getting the most out of their cars at this point in the race. So, really, there's only so much that we can theorize about at this point. It's a lot of fun to speculate and guess, but at the end of the day, we just got to sit back and find out. Which gives us an opportunity, at the very least, to check out a little more of the field here, JP, as we're still on board with Spencer Kostovich. We're going to look around the field, and let's go back to the last running car as M. Taki and Giuliano Romagnolo are out of the race. Blaine Sparling back here in the 35th position for Scuderia Chicken House. Angel Pixie on the side of that car as well, it seems like, and a bit of a lockup there in Mercedes, but the 159 out of California, he's gone a lot further in this race than I would have.
Yeah, probably me too. With all that pressure, my car was probably going to be similar to Sebastian Vettel in the 2018, probably just stuck on the tire barrier at one point. But yeah, doing great. Obviously, the race didn't go his way, but still persevering, which is really good to see. As you can see, Curtis Jones also not having the best of race, but still persevering, which is really good to see, Andrew. Some of these drivers, even without the best of lucks, just keep on going and keep on battling throughout the racetrack. Just, it's a positive thing to see.
It really is. And another one of the PSM drivers. And Mikhail Rudovic kind of pioneered the PSM experience here, if you will, in the North American Racing League last season in GT3 racing. But he was the lone driver for Pacific Sim Motorsport, so to see more of them is good. Here's Aaron Law in 33rd, up 3 spots from the start of the race. That's always good. To be positive at the very least is always good. You can always look back on it as a success, even if it's not quite what you want. And here's Nicholas Michael in the 812, and that is the Morad car that I think we saw have problems off the start. That would certainly fit the bill, unfortunately. Let's look at Alessandro Torchio for Juncos Esports. I see Elite Performance Industries on the side of that car. I see a number 173. And I will say, I do like that paint scheme. I really do. Something about it, again, it's one of those simple ones that it's just kind of pleasant to look at. James Hansen ahead. He's for Pacific Sim Motorsport. He is in the 30th position here, JP, and is the first car in the top 30, obviously.
Yeah, it started 28th place, now currently 30, so unfortunately lost 2 places. He was as high as 21st at one point in time, so kind of losing maybe just a few mistakes here and there, just kind of, just obviously first race of the season, still plenty to learn, plenty to improve. Brian DeFries as well, starting 29th, currently 29th, so he's holding position for the time being. They're probably going to engage in a battle maybe in the next few laps if James Hansen can't close up to that gap. Moving ahead into 21st place, that's Nick Peterson on that bright yellow Porsche. Kind of reminds me of one of those older Porsches, and it looks like he's engaging in a battle for 27 with the driver ahead of him. That's going to be Joshua Lewis as well in 27th place. So these two, well, are going to be engaging in a battle. The Chicken House livery car, well, this could be something to keep an eye out for, Andrew.
It seems that Mark Scott missed the start of this race and is just connected to the session, so his name will actually not populate on our graphic, unfortunately, but he is here, so it's good to see him out there. Joshua Lewis, we were just looking at him. How about Justin Sang in the 25th spot? Started 19th, so a little bit negative. We saw his spin, though, in the hairpin on lap 1, so it's understandable to be a couple of positions back after that, especially so early in the race. Tony Kanaan next up for Full-Time Esports. Not been the greatest of days. Excuse me, started 15th, currently 24th, as low as 33rd, though, so the drive back through has been fruitful. About 10 positions up, but certainly would like to be higher up in this field. We'll see if we can get any more spots here in the final 7.5 minutes. Let's move up to Reed Gibson in the 143 in 23rd spot, looking pretty solid. A lot of these guys, we don't know a whole lot about them yet, JP. All we can really say is they're looking pretty good. They're keeping the car on the racetrack. They're keeping the car on the gray stuff, as some might say. And that is really the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. On the first few rounds, obviously, you just want to learn the car, obviously learn your competition as well, and just score points. As long as you finish the race, you're going to score points and gain experience, which is really very important. As you can see, Luis Santi looks like he's in 20th place defending as they're going to enter the back straightaway into the small kink of Parabolica. And, well, just, again, 25 in 20th place, just making up spots. You can see Blake Scott, unfortunately the only Scott racing machine who entered the race. He's starting 34th, Andrew, and he's currently 19th, so a fantastic race for him so far. and I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy with that result.
And a clean car as well. That's always a big part of it. Just ahead of Blake Scott, you'll find Samsoid, David Sampson, in the 18th position, working out of the Mercedes corner here for turn number 8. A pretty fruitful day, I think a good, calm day. He's been very, very much in his own pocket of racetrack throughout this race, so I think just able to have a nice, calm race. Sure, he's 18th, he'd like to be higher, but a very clean, orderly race for him. Started 24th, up 6 spots, no complaints there, and he's following Scott Reiser, who's also had a very calm and quiet day in the 17th position. Big stuff there for the 142. Lawrence Zavadil has fallen back a little bit, though, JP. As high as 9th in this race. We saw big things for him off the start. Started on pole, in fact, in Pro-Am, and is down to the 16th position. I want to say 4th. Yeah, it looks like 4th in class.
Yeah, you can see a bit of damage to the rear end, definitely not helping as well. So, unfortunately, a few battle scars on his Porsche, but he's definitely persevering. Mikhail Rudebusch as well started in 21st, currently in 15th place, so moved up 6 spots, really good for him. Currently, well, as you mentioned, 15th spot, just battling, trying to close up to this guy, Spencer Marsh, starting 20th, currently 14th, so another driver who made up 6 spots. And also, they're in a 3-car battle, Andrew. This is really fun to watch, as well as Kevin Kuruched is leading this battle, as you can see, starting 31st and currently 13th. So that's a really good comeback race for him. And just outside of the top 10, just 3 positions shy. Luan Hot in 12th place currently. Kind of a race on his own as well, just on no man's land, I guess you can say. Just running his own race, trying to focus on hitting his own marks, not to get too distracted to lose a few positions, but doing, well, so far so good as well.
Just ahead of Luan, you'll find the number 27, Fabio Zamperlini. 11th spot, started 9th, so he's down a couple of positions, but a really good day regardless. There's so much talent in this field. If you can come home in the top half of the field, I think that's a good day in and of itself. So certainly nothing to complain about for a lot of these drivers. If you're finishing this race, you're doing a good job. So big stuff here for Fabio Zamperlini in 11th, going to claim some pretty good points for the day. Just behind Brady Lubinow. How about this out of Brady? You know, we've known a lot of these different drivers. Brady, obviously, from Pacific Sim, and Fabio Zamperlini from here at North American Racing League. But we've never seen them race each other yet. So to see these two and how they sort out over the course of a 50-minute race is pretty fascinating. You learn a lot about drivers that way. Neto Nascimento, we talked about him a lot so far. He is in 9th. Pretty good race for him. I think leaves a little to be desired just because of how high he's been in this race, JP. He's been up to 4th. He's certainly shown that he has some pace and can get up there, but I think the pit strategy kind of worked against him. It's a longer pit stop by a little over a second compared to the guys that he was chasing earlier on. Further ahead of him, though, there is our Pro-Am race leader, Paulo Godoy. Really good stuff. Started 14th, up to 8th overall, and really, I think, took that Pro-Am lead at the start and has not looked back.
Absolutely, just controlling the pace and really bringing the challenge to some of these overall pro drivers like Bernardo Faria, another Brazilian driver. So he's really doing a fantastic race. Bernardo as well, up 4 places, starting in 11th, currently in 7th place. Really good job for him as well. And obviously Matthew Dench was in, well, race-long battles, I guess you can say. He never really had a stretch of road all to himself. Starting in 8th, currently in 6th place, so moved up 2 spots. Currently in a battle with the number 34 of Luke Krause, just ahead of him, who's starting in 6th, currently in 5th. So one position positive, but a really good race as well for him from Canada, if I'm not mistaken. And, well, he's just chasing Nick Ludicky in 4th place.
And Nick has had a great race. He's been top 4 the entire day, just about, only as low as 5th, and I think that was through the pit cycle. Really good stuff out of Nick Ludicky, just consistent. He's had a couple of mistakes. He had that run-in with Giuliano off the start, but otherwise, it's been a really good day, and I'd have to imagine that there likely will be some kind of steward action for Lab 1, Turn 8, but it shouldn't make this all for naught. It might lower him a couple of positions maybe, but it's still going to be a good day. His consistency is really going to pay it forward for himself here. It's going to pay off, certainly, at the end of the day for Vendaval Sim Racing. Up ahead, you find his teammate for Vendaval Sim Racing is Spencer Kostovich, looking very, very good in that number 18. He was the first down the pit lane and kind of set the tone for the day. And that's hard to do, I think, in this kind of a race. So the fact that we've talked about him so much and he's had this large of an effect in this race is really big. And he's been chasing Victor Miranda for the last, 20 minutes or so as Victor sits in second. That leaves just our race leader ahead. Is Victor a little wide there? But keeps the car on the racetrack, keeps it nice and clean. chasing our race leader, though, Andre Melchers. This has just been a really good day for him. Perfect pit strategy, challenge at the right times, took care of his car. Not much else you can say.
Absolutely not. Just controlling the pace. Obviously, he lost the lead early on, even on lap 1, maybe down into turn 1 or 2. After that, maybe just saved a little bit of fuel, was learning how Victor drove, maybe just catching a few tips here and there to improve his personal lap time. And, well, since he took the lead on track, actually, just hasn't looked back. The gap was 1.8 as soon as he came out of the pits. Now it's 3 seconds, so just controlling the pace and even pulling away from the rest of the field. So a really good, a really strong pace for him, and kind of setting the tone for the rest of the season. Can anyone dethrone him? Obviously, Daytona is going to be a much different challenge, but with this bar set this high, Andrew, it's kind of hard to root against him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, he's on home turf, obviously. He's got that bit of an edge, I suppose, and certainly home field advantage, but he's currently clearly showing that he is the driver to beat in this series. He's just been so good this entire race. So good. And, yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard to bet against him for Daytona next week. Obviously, Daytona is going to be a completely different animal. You know, the draft battles are going to be big. I think we're going to learn a lot about these race cars as well for Charlotte. I think we're going to learn a little bit for Charlotte from Daytona just because of the drafting and the way they'll handle those chicanes. But it's going to be something entirely different next week from anything else we'll see all season long. It's going to shake things up. I don't know necessarily that Andre is going to go in there and win, but he's easily going to be the driver to watch for next week, along with a few guys like Victor Miranda, Spencer Kosovich, and the like. It's out of the Sud Curve for the penultimate time. White flag is now out here at Hockenheimring. Actually, that's checkers. That's it. We're one lap shy here, so checkered flag is out. We already had the white flag presented by Whiplash Simcams. It is checkered flag, and Andre gets it done at Hockenheimring.
So that was a fantastic race for him. As we mentioned, Victor Miranda is going to come on second, Kostowicz in third place, Nick Ludicky in fourth, Kraus is going to be finishing fifth ahead of Matthew Dench, Faria in seventh, Paulo Godoy is going to be winning Pro-M class ahead of Nato Nascimento and Brady Lubenow in 10th place. And Andrew, this was a fantastic. I cannot wait to Daytona next week.
Oh, Scott Ricer just had trouble on the final lap. He goes around and loses at least one spot to Samsoid. The rest of the field comes on through. Samsoid will be next to the line. Here he comes. Blake Scott will follow. And then Scott Ricer will finish now in the 19th position. Lowy Santi will finish 20th. John Zedlak 21st. And we'll let the rest of the field come on through. Tony Kanaan, TK is going to go 23rd, it looks like. A really good run, all things considered, to be absolutely crashed out almost on the front stretch on the first lap. I'm not even sure if he drove away from that. I think he did, right? And then came in and pitted and got the damage fixed. It's been a stellar run for Tony to come back from this and finish in the 23rd position. And the others that did as well. Obviously, Tony was the one we could attach to, right, and follow his run back through the field. I know there were others that persevered, and seriously, congratulations to all of those guys for persevering through this race and sticking through it. A few drivers to finish up. Those are Brian DeVries across the line, Alessandro Torchio, and James Hansen. And some 15 seconds further back will be Nicholas Michel as a couple of other cars come across there. Nicholas would be next on the lead lap from Aradnis in the 812. And he was another driver that we saw. And in fact, he was, I think, the driver that we saw have trouble on that first lap getting to somebody and turn somebody up and over. So certainly things to grow from here in race number 1 for race number 2 was that is it for the racing action here at Hockenheimring. And there is your race winner. A chance to sit and stew and reflect on a job well done.
Absolutely, just taking in the breather. Obviously, we mentioned he's from Germany. I bet it's nearly 3 or 4 a.m. over there, so, I mean, he's definitely going to sleep very well knowing how dominant he was on tonight's race.
With all of that, this gives us a chance to go ahead and step aside and take a much-needed break after 50 minutes of continuous action like that. But don't worry, we're not going far. We won't be gone very long. We're just going to get a nice little breather, a quick little intermission, and just like earlier, be right back to you here in just a few moments. We'll also sprinkle in a message from our partners here at PitStopTV. Don't go anywhere. Post-race coverage is on the way.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
SoundArt introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. SoundArt ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Welcome back to the virtual Hockenheimring. What a day of racing. For the first round of the North American Racing League Porsche Cup Series, fantastic stuff. These cars, and this is what I talk about when I intro and talk about this fantastic platform, and the fact that we're so lucky to witness racing with this fantastic new Porsche 992 technically, but this brand new 911 GT3 Cup car. It's just so good. It is so good. Puts on such great racing. It's the perfect, I think, spec car when you want to go fast. Obviously, you've got Spec Miata racing. I will always love Spec Miata racing, but if you want to go a bit faster, these Porsche 911s, they're pretty darn good. Well, enough of that, though. Let's get straight into it. Post-race coverage. Andre with the big win at Hockenheimring. And Andre, home race, home car, if you will. This is a race you should have won, and you did win. How'd you do it? We've got you.
here, to be honest, because I knew it will be just a draft fest, just like who saves the most fuel will win at the end. And yeah, thank God I got a bad start, so I had P2 all the time and could save enough. And yeah, that put me through the win.
So if we're already talking about this being a draft fest, staying in line, saving that fuel, the little margins, how much is that going to increase at Daytona next week?
I would say even more than here on Hockenheim, because you have more and longer straight. So yeah, I think it will be even more fuel saving here, or in Daytona.
And of course, there's pretty stiff competition. The average of Pro and Pro-Am drivers here, the average I rating is over 4,000. How do you attack this kind of racing? How do you attack this kind of field that you're racing against in the stiff competition from guys like Victor and Spencer behind you?
I honestly have to say I practiced quite much for this, because I already prepared with the RG guys for the first round of PESC, and because of that I already had like 10 or 15 hours in, and yeah, I think that helped me as well a bit.
And how different is it? Obviously, the Porsche Esports Cup Series, Porsche Esports Championship is big, right? A lot of great drivers. I know Bobby Zielinski competes over there. We've seen him in Nork broadcasts here on this channel. Is there, I guess, a big difference in competition? Is it just about the same? How does that change from race to race?
I mean, of course, there's a difference because the PESC is just the top of the top leagues. But I still had to really push as hard as possible because Victor and Spencer behind me, they were really fast. And yeah, so it was not easy for me.
Well, Andre, congratulations big time on this one. This is going to set you off really, really well for the rest of the season. Who do you have to thank? Who makes it happen for you?
The team, I want to thank the team. Our sponsors, Predator, Richard Mill, Fanatec, and yeah, I'm happy to be in the league and looking forward to the next race at Daytona.
We're glad to have you here, Andre. Going to help elevate the competition, certainly. Congratulations on the win tonight. We'll see you next week in Florida. And that is Andre Melcher's a really, really good race. He did everything just about perfectly. I like how he even kind of threw in the fact that he got set back at the start there, JP, so he could save fuel. And I think that is something big, actually. He mentioned it. I think that certainly is part of what led to him winning this race, able to save a little bit of fuel there. Let's go ahead and throw things down, though, to our second place finisher this evening, Victor Miranda.
Então, Victor, como é usual aqui na NRL, a gente pode falar em português aqui com os nossos entrevistados. Então, conta mais como é que foi tua corrida aí. Tu liderou por boa parte, mas infelizmente não conseguiu chegar no final.
Corrida muito difícil. André Melker estava muito rápido. Sabia que nessa pista tinha muito vácuo e tentei economizar combustível desde o começo. E aí, no finalzinho, ele conseguiu. A intenção era não deixar ele ultrapassar, porque eu sabia que ele era mais rápido de cara pro vento. E cometi um erro dentro do pit ali, não vi que ia dar menos uma volta. Abasteci um pouquinho mais que ele. Ele conseguiu salvar também um pouquinho mais. Talvez, se eu abastecesse certo, daria para acompanhar pelo menos ele até o final. Mas treinei relativamente pouco comparado a ele. Ele falou que treinou 10 a 15 horas, eu treinei, sei lá, ontem. Então, vamos preparar mais forte para Daytona e é isso.
Sim, show de bola. Obviamente, você falou essa questão do treino mesmo, deve ter atrapalhado um pouco. Como a gente fala de Daytona, assim, obviamente é uma pista que vai requerer muito mais, não treinamento, né, mas obviamente o vácuo lá vai ser muito importante. Como é que você se prepara para uma pista assim?
Muito treino, o carro obviamente vai ficar a risco, porque você vai priorizar as retas, mas e com isso precisa de muito treino para entender ali qual que é uma melhor configuração com velocidade reta e que não fique tão a risco no miolo. Mas inevitavelmente Daytona até 4 décimos mais lento consegue ainda aproveitar o vácuo, ainda mais esse carro que está puxando o vácuo aí a quase 2 segundos. Então acho que vai ser uma corrida de muita estratégia, muito salvamento de combustível. E é isso, acho que vai ser uma corrida bem, bem difícil.
Com certeza vai ser. E, bom, eu espero falar contigo de novo em Daytona daqui uma semana. Mas antes que eu deixar você dormir, porque é quase 1 hora da manhã aqui no Brasil, quem que você tem que agradecer pelo teu resultado hoje?
Queria agradecer primeiramente aqui os companheiros da DHR Team, o Fábio Zampellini, Jean Karadec que andou aqui na M, o próprio Paulinho que vai vir aqui falar depois, o Luan, todo mundo que andou aí brasileiro que está se esforçando para dar um campeonato tão bom quanto a North American Racing League. E queria agradecer aqui também a minha equipe, a Energy Sim Sport, e o nosso patrocinador, a Metro Network.
Show de bola. E com isso, Victor, vou desejar pra você uma boa semana e espero falar contigo semana que vem.
Obrigado.
So, Andrew, after that interview, quite a few things to take away from Victor. Obviously, he said it was a very hard race, a lot of slipstream. He said this car is actually really affected by the slipstream. You could get the effects of it even when you're 2 seconds behind. So, quite a strong effect on the car. He said that Andrew was faster all throughout the race, even on practice and qualifying. But unfortunately for him, he made a small mistake on the pit lane, taking a bit too much extra fuel. He maybe could have battled Andre on the final part of the race, but unfortunately just fell through. And obviously, he mentioned as well that he was talking to Andre. Andre got 10 to 15 hours of practice to this race, and unfortunately, he only practiced yesterday. So a really good showing from him, really good performance. For Daytona, he said that it's going to be a lot more practice to understand the setup, to make sure that the balance of the car is correct, to make sure the car is very fast on a straight line, but not too loose and, too difficult to guide on that middle part, the middle sector of the racetrack. And obviously, fuel saving, it's going to be a must for next week. So it's going to be really interesting to see who's going to come out on top then.
A lot to break down there from Victor Miranda and his thoughts after 50 minutes of racing at Hockenheimring. JP, you're going to be busy this afternoon, this evening, whatever it is. We're going to pass things over to the Pro-Am race winner, Paulo Godoy.
Então, Paulo, hoje vai ser a entrevista todas em português quase. Você ganhou a tua categoria, né? O Pro-Am. Me fala aí como é que foi tua corrida.
Boa noite, pessoal. Todo mundo que está assistindo. Eu estou bem feliz pelo resultado de hoje. Eu acho que nós brasileiros estávamos juntos ali e conversando o quão é gratificante depois de algumas horas de treino conseguir chegar e mostrar um resultado. Sendo que tem muita gente rápida aqui, um campeonato de altíssimo nível. Então hoje foi não como eu esperava, né? A gente sempre espera de tudo de uma corrida, mas eu fiz uma largada excelente, eu consegui largar muito bem, sem distracionar. Ganhei algumas posições antes da primeira curva, era muito importante eu chegar no pelotão e não perder vácuo. Uma pista que necessita total de estar comboiando. A minha ideia era fazer o tempo todo uma economia de combustível para conseguir fazer um pit mais rápido, caso eu tivesse necessidade de abrir do segundo, terceiro colocado da minha categoria, e acabei conseguindo andar junto no pelotão da frente, né? Então isso foi bem gratificante, e graças também ao pessoal aqui que treinou junto, que compartilhou ideia, para a gente chegar com o nosso querido Brasil aí muito bem representado dentro de uma liga tão importante. Mas eu quero agradecer meu time, meus patrocinadores. Meu time é a Your Race Brasil. Os patrocínios principais são a Real Drive, Tech, a Ciência BR Simuladores e a Motor Bull. A Strike Brasil, Lindói Autopeças e Comida do Dia. No mais, agradecer quem estava torcendo no chat, alguns amigos, alguns apoiadores, alguns colegas de equipe e também o pessoal aqui BR, como já tinha dito no começo da entrevista, Fábio Zamperlini, o próprio Vitor Miranda, o Luan Hot, que fez uma dobradinha maravilhosa pro nosso time aí, e o João Karadec também, que também correu na AM, a gente estava super na torcida por ele. Vamos chegar na próxima mais forte, mais treinado ainda, uma pista de mais vácuo ainda que aqui, então os carros mais colados do que nunca, mas com muito treino e dedicação a gente chega lá. Muito feliz e obrigado pela oportunidade e até a próxima.
Show de bola, Paulo. Só mais uma pergunta, porque basicamente você resumiu tudo aí. Para Daytona, você disse muito vácuo. Como é que você se prepara com, obviamente, seus companheiros, com o resto dos brasileiros? Quão diferente é o treino de uma pista como Hockenheim?
Daytona, sem querer ser retórico, né, é 100% de vácuo. A gente não pode brigar demais para não perder o pelotão da frente. Os carros vão ser bem ariscos, acredito, porque é praticamente reto o tempo todo, então vamos ter que tomar cuidado nas curvas que existem, né? Frenagens e etc. Acontecem alguns incidentes, algumas perdas de frenagens, mas a gente vai trabalhar um setup bom e fazer um treino bem focado aí para chegar forte lá. Mas Vaca é assim, tentar economizar, tentar fazer uma corrida safe, fazer um pitch mais rápido e depois do pitch aí a corrida realmente na verdade começa, né? Então acho que vai ser mais ou menos
Com
por aí.
certeza. Exatamente, é basicamente isso. Mas ótimo falar contigo. Feliz que você ganhou a categoria. Feliz também que o Lua terminou em segundo, assim como o Victor Miranda. E espero falar contigo semana que vem também.
Obrigado, João Paulo. Obrigado a todos que estão aqui na cabine, todo mundo que está assistindo. E até a próxima semana de Daytona a gente tá aí de novo, tentando representar o Brasil. Obrigado.
Show de bola, até mais. So, Andrew, that was Paulo. He's happy for the result. Obviously, he's really happy for the Brazilian team. You can say, obviously a lot of Brazilian drivers. He said that they were talking, they're really happy with the overall result. Obviously, we got two Brazilian drivers on first and second for the Pro-Am class. Obviously, he's really thankful as well to be on a championship like this and being able to show such a good and strong result as well. When we talk about his race, he said he got a fantastic start, barely any wheel spin, and already got a few free positions even before turn number 1, so a really strong start. And he was really happy to be racing with the top peloton. He was not expecting that. Obviously, he was running the top 10 nearly the whole race, so really good for him. Once again, he mentioned how happy he was with the Brazilian drivers, and when we talked about Daytona, he said, it's just pretty much just a slipstream fast. It's just the training is really focused to make sure that the car runs well under the slipstream conditions. Not really punching the air, but just really focused on the slipstream. Obviously, he mentioned that being careful on braking zones and turning zones, obviously, to avoid any real fighting, to not lose touch and not lose a lot of time is vital. And obviously, saving fuel is going to be the name of the game. He mentioned that the real racing on Daytona only happens after the pit stop, so it's going to be interesting to keep an eye out for him.
Well, JP, you're the VIP. You're not VIP, MVP rather, of these post-race interviews. I don't even have to do anything right here. I'm just going to pass things right back over to you with Luan.
Let's go. Então, Luan, vamos falar contigo. Terceira entrevista hoje. Terceira de quarta, falando em português, o que realmente me deixa muito feliz ver todos os brasileiros. Me conta como é que foi tua corrida.
Boa noite a todo mundo. Boa noite a todo mundo que ainda está assistindo a transmissão. Boa noite, pessoal aí da cabine. Good night, guys. Foi uma corrida bem interessante. Eu não esperava, realmente, esse resultado. É claro que eu e o Godoy, a gente veio treinando muito forte. A gente tentou otimizar ao máximo o nosso tempo, porque a gente não tem realmente muito tempo de estar treinando junto, mas sempre a gente está trocando ideia e compartilhando informações. E no final deu certo. Nosso objetivo era realmente levar a U-Race para o pódio 2 vezes. Infelizmente o Bernardo Faria ele não teve um resultado que ele merecia, mas faz parte da corrida e isso acontece. E eu estou muito feliz na minha estreia em uma liga estrangeira, tá chegando aí no pódio na minha primeira corrida. Isso é bem animador, bem gratificante, e as únicas pessoas que fazem parte disso sempre estiveram do meu lado, sempre estiveram me apoiando, e isso é muito legal. Desde do meu começo eu tenho muitas pessoas legais do meu lado, e eu fico bem feliz por isso. Eu queria agradecer, eu acho que o Godoy já falou os patrocinadores, mas eu queria reforçá-los, porque realmente sem eles a gente não estaria aqui. Queria agradecer a Royal Drive, a Ciência VR, a Motorbull, a Strike Brasil, Lindói Autopeças, Comida do Dia, Hop Produções, Cardoso Design, Fórmula 3D e Arcuri Consultoria, que fizeram isso acontecer. Agradecer a U-Race por me dar essa oportunidade de representar eles aqui e em outros campeonatos. Eu quero agradecer meus amigos que estavam assistindo aí a transmissão, e todo mundo que estava torcendo por mim, mesmo que não tenha assistido a transmissão inteira ou vá assistir depois. Eu quero agradecer todo mundo que me apoia. E é isso, quero agradecer a todos da U-Race, e muito obrigado, Paulo Godoy, também, por fazer parte disso aí. E bora pra cima na próxima. muito obrigado aí, João Paulo, pelo espaço também.
Claro, com certeza. E, obviamente, rapidinho pra gente poder dormir, né? 1h10 da manhã já aqui no Brasil. Quais as expectativas pra semana que vem em Daytona?
As expectativas são. Depois desse resultado, as expectativas aumentaram bastante. Claro que a gente tem que seguir com o pé no chão, né? Porque o nível é extremamente alto. O pessoal aqui realmente faz, faz, faz tudo ficar difícil e é isso que a gente procura em uma liga. E a gente vai para cima, a gente vai melhorar o nosso setup, com certeza a gente vai estudar mais sobre o carro, estudar mais sobre todos os comportamentos, treinar bastante, que é importante, e as expectativas são mais altas agora, pelo menos repetir a dose é o que a gente vai buscar, e eu espero poder estar aqui semana que vem de novo junto com o Paulo falando sobre a corrida. As expectativas são essas. Eu quero.
Absolutamente, Lua. Eu também tô esperando bastante semana que vem. Tomara que a gente consiga conversar de novo.
Tomara.
Mas dito isso, obviamente, meus parabéns pela corrida, meus parabéns pelo resultado.
Obrigado.
E boa noite. Espero falar contigo semana que vem.
Boa noite todo mundo. Good night, guys. Thank you for that. That's it.
Well, obrigado, Lua. And well, Andrew, a very, very happy driver tonight. Very, very happy. I mean, pretty much everybody was happy to not only take part, but also finish this race. Obviously, he was very happy with the race. He thought it was an interesting. He didn't really think he had the pace. He didn't really expect the result that he got. But, you know, he was really happy with it. He did a lot of practice with his teammate. He shared a lot of information. Obviously, he was a little bit sad that his teammate Bernardo couldn't really get, to round off the podium, didn't get the result that he maybe deserved. But he was really happy for the podium on his first race for NRL. When I asked about Daytona, he's had a lot of practice due to just the high level of NRL, the Pro-Am field, just such a high level. And that's exactly what they like, to prove themselves as drivers. And, well, they're just going to be improving the setup as a team, improving the car, studying the car, all that sort of stuff. And with this result, he said that, well, the expectations are very high, so we could expect to see more of him next week.
I think we will see a whole lot more of each of these guys who excelled today, be it in class or overall, doesn't really matter. I think just everybody did a really, really good job of racing. That's been a long time talking to drivers and about drivers. Let's look through the unofficial race results as they stand after 50 minutes of racing. You can see a really good day for Andre, Victor, Spencer, and Nick up top. And even you could include easily Luke Krause and Matthew Dench. That's your top 6 of drivers, and all within 12 seconds of each other. Just a little farther back, you find Bernardo Faria, also a really good day. I think everybody in this top 10, excellent, absolutely excellent, stellar day of racing. Paulo Godoy, of course, with that Pro-Am win. We talked to him, well, you talked to him, JP. Neto Nascimento there in 9th, and Brady Lubenow, how about that for a top 10 first race out?
Pretty good result for him as well. Fabio Zamperlini is going to be finished off in 11th place, just ahead of Luan Hott. We just talked to Kevin Kurushat, is going to be finished off in 13th place, ahead of Spencer Mash. Mikael Rudebusch in 15th, ahead of Lawrence Zavadil. David Samsoid is going to be finished in 17th place, ahead of Blake Scott and Scott Reister. And Laui Santi is going to be finished off in 20th place.
Finishing 21st, you'll find that of John Sedlak in the 203 of JS Consulting. Paul Ricciabene, I'm going to go with, again, very, very sorry if we butcher these names. By all means, reach out to us and correct us. Paul finishes 22nd. Tony Kanaan, 23rd there in the 48 car. Justin Sang, 24th. Reed Gibson, 25th. Joshua Lewis, 26th. And to complete your top 30, you have Brian DeVries, Alessandro Torchio, James Hansen, and Nicholas Michel.
31st place will go the way of Aaron Law, ahead of Curtis Jones, Scott Kimbrough in 33rd, Nick Peterson in 34th, Blaine Sparling in 35th, ahead of M. Taki, Giuliano Romagnolo in 37th, ahead of Mark Scott. And that, Andrew, are 38 drivers who took to the grid in what was a fantastic start of the season.
Yeah, that's That is the way you want to open a season. Sure, there were a couple of big spills, a couple of big wrecks off of the starts, and might have to go get replays of those for social media, but just that is how you want to open a season. That is how you want to kick things off here at the North American Racing League. How about a shout out then to everybody who makes it happen behind the scenes at the North American Racing League Virtual Racing School, of course, VRS. Even I am a subscriber. I highly recommend looking into VRS, and the fixed setups for this series certainly are fantastic. Look at the racing they provided today. Good stuff. Moradness, Daniel Morad, and everything going on there. They've got a racing team. They've got coaching. If you are looking to pick up tents, if you've got the setups already sorted out, by all means, look to Moradness, look to Daniel Morad to find an extra few tents here on iRacing, especially, well, in these road cars. He knows what he's doing. He is an IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship driver. He knows how to get around. He can get you around a good racetrack as well. I'm going to be honest, JP, it's pretty late at this point, so my description isn't as good as it was earlier, but you know what? Go back earlier and all my shout-outs to him. I think that will definitely stand nicely. Of course, Tam Livery, a lot of the paint schemes throughout the field, they are just fantastic, and Tam Livery brings that to you as well as all of the art with the North American Racing League. And I gotta say, his color choice for this series, fantastic. Love it. I really enjoy this color palette for this series. We get a lot of greens, a lot of reds, a lot of blues, but to have this combination of like a pink, purple, and a very light blue, it's perfect. It just looks so good. It stands out really nicely. Props to Tam there. And JS Consulting, John Sedlak, who finished 21st today, handling the website and all of those other duties here with the North American Racing League. A shout out to our partners as well at PitStopTV, of course, Tucson Sound Art, Your Picture, Your Music, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy, Whiplash Media and Whiplash SimCams, the official broadcast graphic and camera provider of PitStopTV, as well as BAM Racing Videos by a race fan for the racing community. JP, we've got a lot of broadcasts coming up on Pit Stop TV. This is not it. There's more going on this week, and here we go. This is a preview of what's to come the rest of the week. We have got, that's not how you spell Wednesday. Am I just noticing that? Was it that way earlier with BSR MX-5? Did I not notice it? Well, anyways, Wednesday, tomorrow evening, we've got the Outlaw Sim Series at 7:30 Eastern at Daytona. It's their season opener. We just opened a brand new series here with the North American Racing League. We're going to do the same thing tomorrow night. Next Gen Racing at Daytona. We'll have another preview of what's to come with NASCAR Next Gen cars at Daytona here in just a moment. You might have seen it earlier during our intermission. We also have Thursday's BSRTC action from Brands Hatch. It's a nice, friendly European time zone, so any of you guys out there that are new to Stop TV, tuning in for the first time, might want to check into that. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend all of our broadcasts, of course, but the four 15-minute race structure they've got for each of their race days is just fantastic. JP, you and I lived through Miata's earlier today there. I don't know how you can top it, but they're going to give it a shot on Thursday. And of course, Tuesday, we're right back around with BSR and their MX-5 series to Mount Panorama. But let's not forget that this series gets right back to work in just a week at Daytona International Speedway. This is your full season. And JP, there's a lot of ways to keep up with Pit Stop TV.
Absolutely. We're present on each and every single social media, let it be for live broadcasts or updates on race and upcoming schedules and racing. So you should definitely follow us on each and every single social media at facebook.com/pitstoptv, at twitter.com/pitstoptv_, on instagram.com/pit_stop_tv, and on youtube.com/pitstoptv1.
So to all of you guys that are new out there, I know there's definitely a lot of you, by all means. I know it's cliche, but please do hit that like button. Please do subscribe. It really helps us, which helps the league so much to get that kind of growth out on channel. It really does go miles. I know it's just a click of the button for you guys, but it has so much of a larger effect here at Pit Stop TV. That like button on Facebook, that follow button on Twitter, that follow button on Instagram, the subscribe button here on YouTube, it means so much to us and really does validate all of the effort that we put in, day out. And let me tell you, there is a lot. For all of us here at Pit Stop TV, JP Costa, along with myself, Andrew Cardinale IV on the mic, Emerson Arden behind the scenes as well. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to say goodnight, and we will see you next week in Florida.